Guys, listen up. As you get older, the best way to continue to look young, exuberant, and vibrant is to continue to take care of your skin. That's why I'm excited to have Tige Hanley as a sponsor of today's video. You heard me talk about them before, and you're going to continue to hear me talk about them because I believe in their products and the positive impact that they have on every man's life. Tige Hanley makes taking care of your skin so easy. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing that you don't. Every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. Lapeef family, I must admit, skincare wasn't always something I always focused on, but since I started using this system, I've seen improvements in the way my skin looks and feels. And you don't have to take my word for it. They have over 5,000 5-star reviews on their website from satisfied customers from around the world. I recommend you start with the level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer, and a PM moisturizer. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tige Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off retail price, the ability to customize your box, pause or cancel at any time, and free US shipping. And because Tige Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click that first link in the description and you'll get 30% off the first box plus the free gift. Seriously, that's an amazing deal. Even though it's too early, as I often say, it's never too late. Click that link and get started today.
All right, y'all, it's go time. What's going on, family? Welcome to Lapeef Sundays. Let me introduce the crew. We got Amber, we got Kelly, King Rio, Hink, and me, myself. I'm Lapeef JR. Welcome to Lapeef Sundays. How y'all doing, family? How y'all doing?
We're doing good. Happy Father's Day, fellas.
Appreciate you. Happy Father's Day, brothers.
Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, everyone.
How y'all doing on this Father's Day morning, gentlemen and ladies?
Feeling good. Feeling good.
Y'all feeling good?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Amber, I love your lighting. You look so bright.
Thank you. Thank you. How you feeling?
I don't know. I feel like a gothic right now. Just like in my feelings.
Uh-oh.
Hold on now. I thought we was going.
I got my dad's shirt. You guys see that?
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Kelly, I thought we had a conversation last week. We're gonna let the extensions go and bring out the real, the natural.
Oh,
we didn't. No, we didn't have that conversation.
Oh, okay.
The conversation we had was, do you have real hair? And I posted.
Yeah, come on, I didn't say you didn't have real hair.
But yo, did you check out her
don't start nothing else again.
No,
Yeah,
hold on. But
that's
did
in
you
the
check out
past.
her Instagram?
You
She
right.
got
You right.
butters.
You right.
Like her hair is draping. So she shut everybody down.
I like that. I did see that on Instagram, and it did look good. I love it.
Did you see it?
I love it.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. It was. I was
I wore it
inspired.
all week.
Yeah. I was inspired. I'm thinking about growing my hair back out.
I
Like,
know
real
that's
talk.
right.
Here we
Yeah.
Good. That would look nice on you.
Yeah. You ain't the only one
Bruno
bring
Mars
sexy
or
back
something
now.
different.
No. You trying to challenge? Don't try to battle me now.
Yeah. Don't flex on Jr.
Yeah, I might as well. I'll tell them to get that Bruno Mars for Atlanta. Y'all think I'm bullshitting, man. I'm gonna go ahead and get that.
Please,
That's
no.
true.
Yeah.
Anything's
I'm
possible.
gonna get that. I'm gonna go get that man installed. You know.
I did.
Get that 2 hour
I put
install,
it.
Jr.
Yeah, I might even do the kid and play, man. I don't tell him what I'm gonna do, man. I might even get a little design in the back.
You showing your
You-
age, JR. You
Where
said
you gonna
kid
get the high
play.
top fade, baby?
No, I seen kid and play. You know what? I am showing my age.
You showing your age.
Yeah, my apologies, man.
Embrace it, baby.
Yeah,
Embrace it on this good Father's Day.
right. Yeah, I know. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get this show started. Before we do, shout out to the sponsor, Tej Hanley. Go ahead and fill the Tej. You guys seen the commercial. You get 30% off along with a free gift, and that link is in the description. Also, if you don't know, you should know by now, but the Lapeef Experience takes over Atlanta August the 5th and August the 6th. So make sure you guys go ahead and click your tickets if you purchased it already. We appreciate you. I did open up a few more spots for the VIP packages. So if that interests you, you want to get a picture, just go to the site, see what it all entails. And then if you're feeling it and that's your mood, then go there. Otherwise, go ahead and just click the general admission and come on now. All right. Shout out to the greatest network ever, the Lapeef Network. And let me just see what's going on in the chat real quick. Green Gang, I did see you, Miss Red Lipstick Vibes. I see you, Bro Man, Matt G, Gary Stewart, B. Pauly. Got Matt G already. And shout out to the mods. I see Tamika in there. I don't think I seen nobody else that's a mod. At least I can't really tell from this one. But shout out to everybody in the chat, man. If you're just tuning in, welcome to Lapeef Sundays. If your first time, no worries. We are going to have a great show like we always do. Yeah, shout out to Green Gang. Realize, see you, brother. I seen you like to and share the show earlier. Appreciate you. Not sure if you're working, man, but salute to you. Salute to my brother, Rilla. Yeah, you know what time it is. Let's go and get the show started, man. So it's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everybody that's tuning in right now. It is our day, and we're going to take it all. We're not saying Happy Father's Day to the mothers, and that is with disrespect. This is the Father's Day. We're going to own it.
I love it.
We're going to keep that energy right on the fathers. Go ahead. I'm sorry, ladies.
That was like super disrespectful.
Yeah. Nobody should be calling.
Like that's disrespectful.
I do, because there's very few. I'm not gonna say it doesn't happen because I don't know at all, right? But I highly doubt there are a lot of phone calls on Mother's Days telling fathers Happy Mother's Day. So, and again, these are all man-made holidays, right? And we just use it on a surface level to be able to measure moods and feelings, appreciations and acknowledgement. So, since it is man-made, we're just gonna embrace it. That they say it's for the fathers on this particular day. We're gonna roll with it, right? We're gonna go ahead and get ours too, just like y'all get y'all. So,
well, can I just say,
and
the shade is real.
The shade is real, and I will even say to the brothers who are being father figures to children who aren't theirs, happy Father's to y'all too. But we're not going to give the moms credits for being fathers. The moms, we have Mother's Day for. So just want to leave that there.
Hey, JR, not only that, I want to say Happy Father's Day to you deadbeat motherfuckers, because you are fathers. Now, you may not be doing your job, and I hope you watching this show right now. I hope this influence you to start stepping your game up. But you deadbeat motherfuckers are fathers too. So get on your goddamn job.
It's a general consensus. We don't condone men who are absent in the lives of their children's absent in the children's lives. That's not acceptable. It shouldn't be acceptable amongst families, small circles, friendships, whoever. If you know somebody who's not on their job and isn't being held accountable, be the one to say something. You got a choice of who you're around and who you surround yourself by. You don't got to be surrounded by no deadbeats. Make that absolutely, unbelievably uncomfortable for them to be around you and not take good care of their kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And on a lighter note, just
Absolutely.
also to shout out and just sending love and light to those who, regardless this is a man-made holidays, those who unfortunately don't have their fathers here to celebrate. Kelly, my condolences to you, sis. Sending love and light to you, and just to everybody who maybe this may be a rough day for
Yeah.
those. You know,
My condolences, Kelly.
Yeah, yeah, man, as
Thank
well.
you.
Right on.
All right, well, that's
Thank you.
gonna segue. Before we get the show started, let's get these likes up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all the support you guys has been giving the network and all of us. Thank you. I do want to start off by asking you guys a question, and I do understand it may be a touchy subject for people, but I just want to give a little context and only provide what you want to provide. You don't have to go into details if you don't want to, but I just want to know you guys. What was your relationship like with your father? If you could just shed a little light, just so we can kind of get an understanding as we dive into this conversation, where your mindset or your space of mind is coming into this conversation. I don't know, I said that all fucked up, but it is what it is. Anyhow, you guys get it. What was your relationship with your father?
can the gentleman go first since this is your day?
Yes, yes.
Go ahead, Rio, big bro.
I say my relationship with my father was always a work in progress. Um, where it is now, uh, man, it's a relationship that I'm proud of. I'm proud of the both of us, honestly, right? Because a father son relationship requires effort on both sides. Um, Now, growing up, I'll say it may have been different. Um, for me, for a large part of my childhood, I was in a single parent household. Now, it wasn't had nothing to do with me not knowing my father or anything like that. I always known him. He was always there. However, he just simply was not with my mother, right? And I'll say the parenting uh, skills that he had early on were lacking. I don't necessarily think he knew what his role was uh, as a father, aside from being able to be a disciplinarian when necessary. Right? I think sometimes we kind of have this subconscious belief that the woman's role is to be the nurturer and our job is to come in there and establish dominance and discipline and correct. Um, and so I think the difficulty with that is if you are not actively showing a child how you care for them, so to speak, it can be very difficult for them to accept the discipline, right? Um, some of us come from very toxic situations, as we see in the Black community. Um, I'll say on the day that I was born, my mother and her mother were there, right? Um, and I'll say that my mother probably did a lot of pressuring on her end to keep my father around. Um, and so as a young child, when you bring somebody in who is not necessarily being a dad on their own accord, I think that children can pick up on that and they can be receptive to certain things. Something doesn't feel right. Um, Oftentimes we have people who have certain addictions, and some people have hostile and abusive nature and various things like that. And a lot of us young brothers kind of come up in that in certain Black communities. And for me, I've experienced a little of a lot. And so with that, I didn't necessarily know uh, or desire per se to know and understand who my dad was on a human and personal level young. It was kind of like when he came over, all right. But I was just as glad as when he went home, just to keep it a thousand. Um, and so fast forward, later on in life, my parents actually, by the time my youngest sibling was born, they decided to get married, moved in together. And by that time, you got like a 11th grade old kid who thinks he's a man, and now you are coming in, taking up space uh, in way of the, um, I guess, masculine energy, so to speak, that's going on around here. Um, and my mother's taking your side on things, and it didn't work out well for me. I ended up having to leave after very volatile situations because you I'm not used to at that point living with another grown man, and I think I'm getting to age where I am one, and I feel like it's the two of you versus me, so to speak. I was not receptive to discipline. You couldn't put your hands on me. You couldn't holler in my face without me feeling rage. I felt literal rage, um, to the point to where it took me removing myself to
Hey,
contain it.
Rio, I don't want you to tell too much because I wanted to tie into what we're
Yeah.
going to be discussing
Yeah.
earlier.
So
But
so
just
so I'll just leave it there. I'll just leave it there. I'll just say that that was my experience. And as adults and not living in a household anymore, we were able to get to know each other a lot better, become closer, and I think we have a healthy, very healthy father-son relationship, and are very. I think we're both very happy with where we are now.
all
Good
right.
stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I know. Excuse me. With mine, it wasn't always good. So when my parents got divorced when I was about 10 years old, it seemed like it just went down from there. I mean, I'm not saying that we was always close even when we was younger. He did, some of the fatherly duties, took me fishing, hung out with me, had, have deep conversation. But it seemed like when my mother and father divorced, seemed all that went out, fell to the side. So, and it kind of hurt. It hurt my relationship. And it didn't help that my mother would always say, your mom, your daddy this. I always talk about my dad. And that kind of really pushed me to want to be closer with him because, I hear her say this and it just made me feel like she was just saying out of jealousy, out of envy, because he was mad because he'd have moved on and now he's got remarried again and he's happy with his new wife and the new wife is getting everything that she didn't get and she's getting. So, I feel like she was bitter. But now when she was saying some of the things, it was true. But to me, I always believe, don't tell your kids or talk bad about the other parent in front of your kids because they're going to learn. So that really hurt the relationship. I ended up going to live with him for a year or so, but that didn't work out long because we just couldn't get along. By then, I was hard-headed and you couldn't tell me nothing then. So, it continued all the way up to probably right before I graduated from high school, going into college at Murray State. So, and we started communicating then a lot better. He was writing me while I was up at school, sending me phone calls so I could call home to my mom and my grandmother and him. So it started to get better, but it still wasn't the same like it used to be when my parents was married. I think it really changed after he lost his wife. Now he has more time. He's more available. He mortality kicks in when you have situations like that happen in your life. Life is short. And I think it really made him realize that. And also he had a scare with as far as prostate cancer too. So that it might also encourage him to, take advantage of, while you can, while I'm still around. So he started building a relationship, and he reached out to me, and because I wasn't gonna reach out to him and see, because I felt like I did it enough during the time. I tried, and he just wouldn't reciprocate. But he started reaching out to me and wanted to get involved in my son's activity. So, I have a talk with him. I said, look, what I can't have you do is the same thing you did to me. Tell me you're gonna come and don't show up. I can handle it. I'm a grown man. I can handle the disappointment because I've seen it, I lived it, I experienced it. But don't do my son like that. Don't tell him you're going to do something. You're going to be here. You're going to do that. And then you don't follow through. I don't care if it's things under your control. Just don't do it because, it just, you disappoint him. And I don't need that for my son. I don't need him going through the same thing that I went through. So, but he lived up to it. He's been showing up at every basketball game, even ones out of state. We in Atlanta. He's riding down. Now he's staying for a day and he's riding back, but he don't mind taking that drive. It didn't matter. Chicago, Cincinnati. You know what I'm saying? So he was willing to travel and do what he had to do. He has a good relationship with my grandbaby, which is his great granddaughter. And he's flourishing with that. So I'm happy to see it. And I told him, I said, look, I know we didn't always see eye to eye. I know we always didn't have the best relationship. But as long as you can be the best grandfather you can for my kids, I can't ask for much more. And so we've got a lot better. We communicate a lot better. We can talk, we can have a conversation more than 5 to 10 minutes where it doesn't seem so shallow. So, it's better. So.
I appreciate that, Hink and Rio. I don't know if I acknowledge that. And I'll go ahead next before we get to the ladies. But my relationship with my father was it was unique. It was a little different. So people that don't know, my father is Nigerian. He was born in Nigeria, but lived in America. So him and my mother met in America, and they made me. My father was around early on, but him and my mother couldn't see eye to eye. My guess is maybe my mother might have been the side chick. I don't fucking know. But nevertheless, I do have some brothers and sisters out there that I do not know who they are, but he did tell me I have brothers and sisters. And so he was around when I was younger, and then he faded away and then resorted to only phone calls. So all of my manly demeanor and skill set and how I look on life has come from my grandfather. So shout out to my grandfather. Happy Father's Day to you. I'll be giving you a call shortly, but that's where I learned a lot from. My father would normally call maybe once or twice a year. I don't think he's living. He would always call private. Never knew. He said he was in Nigeria, said he was here. I don't tell him where he was at because he would just call, check up on me, say I'm doing, and that was it. So I bumped heads with him where I just was like, first of all, I can't understand what the fuck he's saying. The accent was so goddamn heavy. And I'm just like, I just think the shit was weird until I found out, okay, he's Nigerian. And that was at a later age. So that was a little humor in the situation. But as I got older, I wanted to really build and really wanted to understand like my culture, who I possibly may be in the result of him, like how he thinks, how he moves. I wanted to see if I had some other family members. So it was a maturing phase that I had to go through to be able to accept him. But he told me he was sick. Didn't know if that was the truth or not. Couldn't really tell. But nevertheless, don't hear from him. So that leads me to think that he might not be no longer here with us. If it is, so be. Don't really have too many feelings because he wasn't around. I think if I had any feelings, it probably would have been, why. It's always that why. And so when I see fathers today that are not active, ask yourself why. And when you become a parent, you start to understand the importance and the value of a father. And so I think a lot of men need to really think about what they're doing. Don't ever let the woman be the reason as to why you're not being a father. So that's my telltale story with it. And I'll leave it at that. Jay was running a little late. Welcome, Jay. Appreciate you. We were just finishing up with the guys. I just went Hank went, Rio went, and we just was asking like, what was your relationship with your father? Just keep it under 2 minutes. We ain't got to go into too much detail because I don't want it to tie into what we're gonna be discussing later. So, but just general, like, what was your relationship with your father?
Y'all can hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
All right. It honestly, it was what you want a black father to be, man. Like when you see the movies of that traditional black father, that's what it was, and that includes stubborn, that includes flawed. There was a point where my parents were separated due to his indiscretions. And, I went through my times of being upset at him, then being upset at my mom. And then, but, you get older and you realize, man, it's life, life happens. You know what I mean? And you do what you think is the best thing at the time. But when they were separated, he kept us, me and my sister. You know what I mean? Single father, 2 kids. My sister 11 years older than me, so he held that down. Went to work, overtime, came home, cooked. My mom wasn't there, he made it work. So, he's like my hero, you know what I mean? Which is why I notice people who look at or hold people in high esteem, and then when those people disappoint them, they kind of like chop them down. I don't ever put anybody up there with my pops, man. Like the stuff I've seen him do, the stuff I've lived through, the stuff I've seen him endure, that's my hero. You know what I mean? So it's a high mark for anybody, but king of the jungle, you get to that age where you smelling yourself chest out. There was times where he caved that chest back in, and then now it's reverse, where it's like he's my kid. You know how they say once an adult, twice a child? Like, he's 80 years old, frail, you know what I mean? And he's the kid. He get attitude problems with me. Remotes don't work. Hey, something wrong with this. He calling me for everything. You know what I mean? Hey, something wrong with this box, but still my hero though.
All right. Appreciate that, Jay. You guys haven't already hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's be respectful in the chat, you guys. Ladies, we're coming to you. Whichever one of you ladies want to go first. Em, you want to go?
Sure. Kelly, are you okay? Would you like to go first? Would you like to go first? Go ahead, babes. I'll go. Okay, I'll go. I am the youngest of three. My dad has 3 kids by 3 different women. He had my older sister and my brother when he was younger. So when he was stationed, he was in the Air Force. So when he was stationed in Fort Washington, he met my mother, and they dated and got her pregnant. And from my understanding, since he had my sister and my brother out of wedlock, I guess he wanted to do the right thing by my mother. So, they got married when my mother was 5 months pregnant with me and brought her back to Chicago. Um, and I mean, when I look at it now, growing up when my parents were still married, we were like the Huxtables. When I think about it, my dad was the one, because my mother worked a lot. My dad was the one doing my hair, helping me, when I was running for student council. When I was playing basketball, he became the assistant coach at all the track meets. But when my parents got divorced and my mother left me with my father, she went back to Seattle. It was just me and my dad. And that's when things kind of got rough on my end because my dad was overly bearingly strict. Just in my eyes, I felt like I felt caged, sent me to Alger High School. I couldn't have friends. I couldn't do what girls do. As I got older, I understood, like, I guess he felt like he didn't do right by his other children. So he was going to give me all the opportunities that he didn't give my sister and brother, went to Alger private school, went off to college. But for me, it was just, we butt heads because he was so strict. I wanted to live with my mother. That didn't last long. And so now, as I am a mother of a boy, and like Jay said, I see the humanness in him wanting to do right by me, maybe because he didn't feel like he did right by his other children. So we have had a rough relationship. We just mended things 6 months ago. because now I see him as a human being. You know, we put our parents on a pedestal, and when they fall short for being human, we get disappointed. So, but I definitely honor and appreciate him.
All right, yeah, salute to your dad, Miss Anna Marie Green. All right, Kelly, it's on you.
Please forgive me, I might tear up. My relationship with my father was phenomenal. He was one of the best human beings I've ever met in this lifetime. I can't say enough about him. I could write 1,000 books on him because he was just incredible. He was like, it's funny that you asked this question because someone asked me recently, I think this past week, they were like, you always talk about your dad. Like, what was so great about him? He was just like the perfect balance of a human being. Like, he was extremely masculine. He was he was a disciplinarian, obviously, but he was also very kind and compassionate and caring. So he, like, men always wanted to be around him. They always wanted to, like, know what he knew. And, like, fathers would come up to him like, how did you raise your daughter so well? I want to raise my daughters the way you raise your daughters. Because he was still able to talk to us. He has 4 daughters. He was still able to talk to us and communicate with us and understand us. He was one of my best friends. Like, even when I had questions about men, I would always ask him, like, because he's a man, he knows. I would go to him, Dad, this guy said this to me. What does this mean? Like, you know, can I have some insight on this? Like, if there was a question, that he was always open to talk to me, and he was very busy. He wrote books. He taught at a Bible college. He was an optician. He pastored a church. So he was always busy, but he never hesitated to, like, close up his stuff. And he's like, hey, baby girl, what do you need? Like, he was always there. And it was really hard because I'm one of 5 children to be, like, present with 5 children being so busy. But he and my mother were married for 38 years before he just recently passed away. So it's hard for me to talk about him because I feel like he was only 65. Like, he has so much to give to the world. And, you know, I feel like his life was cut short for a number of reasons. I'm not going to go into it. I can't talk about that. But as far as, like, fatherhood, like, there were people at his funeral adopting him as their dad. They were like, my dad wasn't what he should have been, so I adopt Pastor Kelly as my dad. Kelly is my last name, so it was Pastor Kelly. But he was just a phenomenal human being. He was a man's man, but he still knew how to, like, turn it off and still connect with females too. So my brother is like the ultimate man because he taught him how to be a great man, but then he also taught us how to be feminine, and he let us know it was okay to be that way, you know, and still have strength in that. So yeah, there's a lot I could say. I, like, have 10 pages I was writing while you guys were talking, but I can't. So I'm done. He was amazing. He's my best friend. And I miss him.
We definitely appreciate it. Again, our condolences to your father. And if you have a father that's no longer with us on this earth, our condolences to you guys as well. It is Father's Day, and we want to make sure that we give all the fathers their flowers, whether they're here or not. You know, it's just something that you got to appreciate the fathers, and that's what this show is about, in particular today. So we're gonna push through. We're gonna be good. How y'all feeling, family? Y'all good?
Yeah, doing a little better.
Great
man.
first.
I was
Great.
feeling that.
We
Great
good here.
opener.
Yeah.
Happy Father's Day once again.
Okay.
Jay, are you a dad? No?
Yes.
Jay's a dad?
Oh, Jay.
Oh, no.
Oh, Jay, you got no kids?
Not yet.
Oh. Well, let me find out you got some cats over there, man.
Bang, bang.
He's a cat daddy.
Yeah, cat daddy. All right, let's go get the show started again. If you guys just tuning in, welcome to Lapeef-ING Sundays. Make sure we get these likes up. Also, subscribe to the channel. We are live August the 5th and 6th in Atlanta, ATL, the Lapeef Experience Takeover. So make sure you guys get your tickets. That is pinned to the top of the chat right there. Shout out to the sponsor, Teej Hanley. Feel the Teej, as I always say. Go ahead, man. It's time for us to get our skincare in order on this Father's Day. Ladies, that link is in the description. It's not too late. If they get it Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm pretty sure they appreciate it. Every little thing counts. So if you haven't got that gift, Teej is a great way, a great example to be able to send to a father's way. So, yeah. That being said, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. We're gonna break down this video um, that was sent to me. Shout out Miss Kelly too. She did send this video to me, and it's crazy because one of the things when you're trying to put out this content is you're looking everywhere trying to put it all together. And no matter what people send you and tell you and suggest, you just gotta feel it. And that's just me. It might be my process. I have to actually like feel it, some in my spirit, energy. You know, I don't know if you guys are into that. I'm not so much into it, but I just ultimately I have to feel it because if I don't feel it, then it's just not gonna feel right. So this one was hitting home for me because it's the whole breakdown of this show hit home for me, and it may hit home for others because I currently go through it. You know, like you never really understand what challenges that present you. You never wish to be in certain situations, but a part of life is that you just never know, right? And you find yourself being one of those people like, damn, I thought I would never be in that situation. It's a gift and a curse. I'm gonna say it's a gift. I think everything challenges are good because it shapes you to be able to handle things in the near future. You may not see it right away, but stop looking at everything that's bad and negative happen as a hinder. Sometimes it could be setting you up, like in real talk. It may not be similar situation. It could be something like just I don't know. You guys understand what I'm saying, right? But just take them lessons to heart, and appreciate the lesson. But we're gonna play this video and we're gonna break it down. So I'm gonna stop in between. Yeah, let's break that down real quick. You know, you guys see that often where there are two-parent households. It ain't has to be a two-parent. Maybe the father's coming to pick up the child, and maybe the mom says, you know, your son has been doing X, Y, and Z, and then he begins to discipline them, and the woman feels that mother feels that he's being too hard. You guys see this?
Yeah, I can't stand that shit, JR. That shit. I had to get on my ex-wife about that. And I will call it, I said, don't undercut me. Don't do that. Because when you do that in front of him, that's gonna give him the green light to continue to do his bullshit. Whatever I'm disciplined about. He's getting the okay. So when you sit there and tell me, oh, it's not that bad, no, it is. It's that bad because I say it is. Now you may not feel it's that bad. I feel like it is. And so if whatever I ask him to do, he doesn't do it in a timely manner, that's a problem for me. But I don't need for you to come in there saving his ass. Let me handle it. Now, if you want to talk to me afterwards, we go in the bedroom, we can have a conversation. But in the meantime, while I'm doing what I need to do, allow me to do that. Do not undercut me. I can't stand that shit. That pisses me off. I would never do it I never did that to my ex-wife. When she was in her discipline, I said that. Now, only time I would step in if I feel like I hear him being disrespectful. Then I'm ready to knock his goddamn teeth out. But if I don't hear that and she's just getting on him or whatever, do what you got to do. If I feel like it's too rough or too harsh, then I'll pull you in the bedroom. We'll talk about it. But if not, do your thing.
All right. Anybody else want to speak on it? If not, I continue with the video. We just get one more person.
Yeah, I mean, I think parents need to be on the same accord, really. Like when I was younger, I would definitely play them against each other. You know what I mean? And then my grandmoms would come in town and she was like the hierarchy. So I'd ask my mom, oh, can I go outside? No. I go to my grandma's, can I go outside? Yeah. So, you know, my mom looking outside and see me outside after she told me no, you know, it's like, yo, y'all better get it together, yo, because I'm playing y'all, yo. You know what I'm saying? Y'all need to tighten up. But y'all, even if you're wrong, you still need to be on the same accord. Even if the woman feels like the husband's being too harsh, have that conversation together in the room away from the kid and be wrong together. You know what I mean? Because once kids are smart, man, especially now, they're getting smarter and smarter. And once they sense some dissension amongst the ranks, yo, they gonna prey on that, yo.
Right. I'm gonna go ahead and continue with the video a little bit. Bring it back. I want to go to the ladies with this one because I think they highlighted something that was they highlighted something that was really important. when a woman steps in to intervene with that, do women often feel that the man can't handle it? Because then I'm not saying you guys in particular, but I just want to just talk about this. This is something that happens all the time. And I'm starting to wonder if that woman doesn't fully trust that man's leadership with that family, with that household, with the
You
parenting.
you hit the nail on the head. I just can speak for me. I am guilty of doing that with my son's father when he was younger, and that came because I didn't trust him, or I didn't trust his parenting skills, or that he was too militant because he served in the army. So I realized me stepping in those times really had nothing to do with my thoughts of his lack of parenting, but my bitterness or disdains towards him and our personal relationship. And so I had to be honest with myself that I was doing him and my son a disservice. So, I mean, now, we're on one accord. When his dad get at him, I completely stay out of it. Even when my son try to cry to me, I'm like, this is something you and your dad, even my dad had to tell me, stay out of it. That is their relationship. So even my dad had to step in and kind of pull me to by the collar. And was like, you're doing too much. It sounds more personal than it is about parenting. And it was true at the time.
What about you, Kelly? What are your thoughts about it?
I agree, Amber. And I think once like you get out of your feelings for the other person, you realize it's only about the child. And
Mm.
that's when you can have like a healthy co-parenting relationship. It's not like I hate you or I don't like you. I don't like that you said this because I don't like you. It's more like what is the best situation or scenario for our child. So I mean, early on I had a lot of these issues with my son's dad because our breakup wasn't pretty. But as we grow, we were young. As we grew up, we both matured, realized like he does not need to. He's not going to benefit from us fighting. So we need to decide what's best for him. Even to the point, I know we were talking earlier, but my son, he actually asked me a similar question. He wanted to go live with his dad. He's like, I kind of want to know what it's like to live with a man. So he moved with his dad for the summer, and he's going to stay with him for the year. So it's a trial year, so we're gonna see how it goes. But I've seen him drastically change within just the past 5 weeks that he's been with his dad, and it's something that I couldn't have taught him. So I would say I didn't trust that he was going to raise him the way I would have, but he's doing what he needs as a young boy, something I couldn't give him. So I definitely think it's a balance, and women cannot do it alone. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I think that was a bar that was put out there. Understanding the importance of a father, especially if the father wants to be in his life. There are some things that some women may not just be able to teach that young man. And it's unfortunate that you guys can't have that nuclear family. You guys can't keep it together. But in the event that it's not, single mothers understand that that boy in particular at some point in time should be with his father earlier, much earlier than later. Because once children start to develop these habits and these ways, it's going to be hard to break them. So the earlier the better. Whatever
Mhm.
beef that you have, animosity, even don't even make it about the money. Don't even come for his money. He might just be. That's a decision that you made, and you probably was aware of it before you laid down and opened them legs. You probably knew he was a bum ass nigga, and it is what it is at that point. So don't go chasing him for the money now. Just understand that him being a father, him being having a presence early on is much more important than that money, because now we're gonna break the cycle. We're gonna build a quote unquote a better black community, as you guys like to say, right? I just say community. That our children will be better in this world and in this society. So go ahead, Hank. I think you were trying to say something.
Yeah, I stayed with my ex longer than I probably should have because of situations like this. Because I knew if I wasn't in there on a regular basis, his most vulnerable span of his life, no telling what type of young man he would be right now. And I just couldn't have it. And if that means I had to tolerate some bullshit that I normally wouldn't tolerate from him, then I had to do what I had to do. But the situation, because I'm not going to let you ruin my son and spoil him like you did, you know, your daughter. No, we're not doing that. That's not what I'm going to let happen. I'm not going to see that happen. So I'm going to do what I need to do to make sure I'm right there. And so right now to this day, as far as visitation, he stays with me. He comes to my house every day, after school every day. You know what I'm saying? If he decides he want to go home over to mom's house, it's cool. He has that right. But he stays with me most of the time because he knows, you know, now when he wants something, that's when he's like, oh, okay, I won't go with my mama. Because he knows she'll give in.
Man, hold on, moving too fast. We're gonna talk about that.
We're
gonna talk about that.
Okay.
Again, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. If you haven't heard it already.
Happy Father's Day to y'all, man.
I hit that like button, y'all. Let's go ahead and go ahead.
Can I say one more thing?
As long as it's not pouring into something early. I mean, later we're gonna talk about it, as long as it ain't that.
No, it's in regards to this question, but more from like the nuclear family, how my parents handle it, because they were married, so they always stayed on one accord. Like, and they knew that we would try to pit them against each other. So I would ask my mom something, and then she'd be like, "Did you ask your father?" I'm like, "Yes." "What did he say?" And they would always like communicate with each other. I'm like, "Well, hold on, let me call your dad and see what he said." So you couldn't do it, because when you stay in a good, healthy relationship and you're communicating with each other, the children can't play that game with you. And my mom would step in, like, because my dad was the disciplinarian, so he felt that we should be spanked when we that's how he disciplined us. But she didn't really agree with spankings, but she, submitted to his authority in that way. But she would always be like, "Can you not spank them so hard, honey?" Like, she would step in like that, but she would do it privately. They would never do it in front of us. I thought my parents were very happily married, and they never fought, because I never saw them fight a day in my life. They would always go in the room after we were asleep. They would have their discussion, and whatever they came up with, then they would discuss it with us after. But like sitting all together in like a circle in our family room, and we would talk about what they discussed, but we would never hear an argument. They never did that in front of us, because they stayed like healthy in front of us.
All right, y'all. We're gonna let me try to comb through this video. We're definitely gonna talk a lot more about that a little later. All right, let's go ahead. Where are we at? Now, when I was listening to that, I think I highlighted the point of him saying that undisciplined boys, undisciplined later on. I'm just hearing in real time like the other stuff, and I know people probably like, what? Like, was it just me, or did you guys agree with that second part? It's not part of, let's just scratch it. Let's not even talk about that. Let's just talk about the boy part.
Well, I was going to say, I don't agree with a lot of stuff that Steve does or says, but what I'm saying so far, I totally agree. I totally agree. Like you said, undisciplined boys turn into undisciplined men. And that's definitely not what we want. We don't need no more of those in the world. We got plenty of those now. We're trying to make a change.
Okay. Anybody else want to speak on that?
No, I think that's one of the key things, man. That's one of the key things that if I can go back, I would change, and that's discipline, man. Having discipline as an adult is so important, because, you're monitored when you're younger. When you get older, you have this ability to have most of everything you want. But you have to have the discipline to, yes, I can have it. All of this is mine, but should I have it? Nah, I need to do a few things before I get that, which is important, man.
What's the famous quote by Frederick Douglass? "It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." And so I correlate that quote to what Steve Harvey's saying, that undisciplined young men can translate into undisciplined men. And as everybody say, grab them early. Instill morals, convictions, work ethic, integrity into their minds early, because we don't know how this environment or their paradigm can shift and create arrested development.
All right. We're gonna go ahead and comb through this video a little bit more real quick because he did speak on some of the things that we've already talked about. So just a different perspective on this. Let me go ahead and bring this back up again. All right, so that's kind of similar to what we was talking about, right? We got to watch out for these kids. I think that was the lesson because we spoke about it, but kids will try to play you. Kids are smarter than what you think. Think about how they navigating on these TVs, all the apps. Have you ever seen a 4 or 5 year old on the damn tablet, a 3 year old? Look at how they navigate. You think they're not paying attention? Think they'll be on some slick shit?
It's so funny.
Absolutely. I read it. Oh, go ahead,
Go
Kimberly.
ahead, Kelly. Go ahead.
No, I'll wait.
I was just telling somebody how I caught my son trying to play me a couple of days ago. You know, he started crying and saying he didn't feel love and appreciated because I was fussing him about his chores, and it just hit me. He's playing me. And I'm thinking all the years he got out of punishment or chores because he pulled on my heartstrings because I didn't want to feel like the bad mom. And the whole time this ninja's been playing me.
That's true. It's so easy to do. I remember I read a
Oh, it's like
parenting
your
book
blood.
when I became. What'd you say, Hank? I remember I read a parenting book when I was a new mom. It was like How to Raise Boys or something, and they were talking about how in the terrible twos they throw their tantrums, and this lady was expressing how she kind of did like a test on her son, and she said he would like fall down in the grocery store and then like have his little tantrum, and she would just walk away, and he would like stop his tantrum, follow her, see where she was, and then when he saw her, he would fall down again and do his whole tantrum. But after like the third time, she wasn't paying him the mind. She's like, "Oh, he's like, oh, okay, so this doesn't work. I have to find something." And he's only like 2 years old, so they know really early how to play you, how to manipulate you, who to cry to, who they can get away with what with. Like they're so smart. I even watch my nephew, and my niece now. I'm like, they're playing you, right? But it's so easy when it's your child. You're like, no, that's not what they're doing. They don't know. But it happens every day, all the time.
All right,
I'm
go
I
ahead,
remember
Jay.
I remember I was dating this girl. She had a young kid. The kid was probably like two and a half. And she was in the back seat in the car seat. I was driving. Mom's was in the passenger seat. And we having like an in-depth conversation. And all of a sudden the kid, 2 years old, just start saying, "Mommy, mommy, 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 mommy." And like right through our conversation, I looked back at her and she straight winked at me. Like, nah, man. I know what's going on. I
No.
said, stop. Yes. When I said, these kids are
How
smart,
old was
man.
she?
She was 2 years old.
Oh
2 years
my
old. And she
God.
She
winked at me.
winked. She hit you with the
Winked.
wink.
She hit me with the wink. Like, I know what I'm doing. Y'all are having a little intimate conversation, but no, it's about me.
Yeah, that
I
baby was
know
cock
she
blocking,
did.
baby. That baby was cock blocking.
All right, y'all. If y'all just tuning in, welcome
That's
to. Go
so
ahead, Rio. You
funny.
trying to say something? My bad, Joe.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. You guys just tuning in. Welcome to LAPEEF-ING Sundays. I heard the likes are down. Can we please take a moment right now to get the like up? Get the likes up.
Can we at least get the likes up for
Yeah,
the
just hit the
fathers
likes up.
on
I'm not
Father's
asking for
Day?
anything else. Let's get the likes up. That's all we required when you come in for the show. While you guys are doing that, shout out to the new member, which is James Holman, became a new member. So shout out to you, James. Appreciate it. Welcome to the Green Gang. You now have access to the Chat Ninja emoji. So go ahead and put that in there. Let everybody know who you are, and welcome, family. We also do have a super chat from Mr. Film. Said 1994 crime bill took away the fathers of current 30 to 40 years old today. War on drugs ruined the families back then. Today, I can't say the same. It's more of a complex situation today. Bruiser. I appreciate you. Oh, that's Bruiser. That's Bruiser. I didn't recognize that darn film. Shout out to Bruiser, man. Shout out to Bruiser. He's part of the Keep It Funky campaign, so he will be live in ATL as well on the Logic Keep It Funky show. So make sure you guys are in attendance. I do see HR is in the building. He putting it out there, green gang, green gang. If you have any complaints, this is the person that you want to see. I am not that person. So if you feel violated and you need to fill out a hurt feelings report, this is the man that you need to get in contact with.
He
Any
said a hurt feelings report.
any emails, anything that come out direction, I am forwarding directly over there. So I'm just letting you know. You try to DM
Is there a
me.
website to download that form, the hurt feelings
Um,
report?
I'll
I
put
have
it out
never
there.
heard
I'll
of the
put it
hurt
out there.
feelings
Yeah,
report.
it is a hurt feelings report. Yeah, we do.
Right.
We need to make that the new standard.
I
So
need,
that
I need to fill the paperwork out for this Lapeef shirts I ain't getting.
Are your feelings hurt?
I know.
Your feelings
Yeah,
hurt?
Sometimes when you write things out, you can really see like what it is you're saying, how you feeling, and you might retract that. Like this is crazy. I'll just ball it up. This is nonsense. A lot of people just react out of emotion, and then by the time you get done reacting, then you have to looking like a whole fool. So I think it's we like to call it a task at hand, right? So want to make sure that you fill out this report, and that will help you to gather your thoughts and your emotions and feelings. This is for men and women.
Boy, there's a lot of fluff and bullshit.
This is you guys always talk about how we don't have solutions, and this can very well like maximize
How many
great
of these
results
forms
from
has
this.
Logic
In
filled out?
all my years and all my professions, I've heard grievances and hurt feelings report. It's so new.
Yeah.
Hey,
Doing
Gerald,
some circling and checking in the boxes. Go ahead, Hank, sir.
do you think this COVID could get us a suggestion box too while he's at it?
You said a suggestion box?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that, man. But I'm a little bit. People already get suggestions already. When I go back to the what is it, the third option on the DMs, I'm like, whoa, the request. There's definitely a lot of requests, man. But anyhow, HR says, please don't send them my way. I'm pretty sure he's flooded already.
I know that's right.
Well, let's go ahead and get this show back on there. I think everybody has hit the like button. Also share. We still got to get to the main topic, man. This is great. We ain't gonna be in here for a long time, but we just trying to get y'all together on Father's Day. So shout out to Jason Wilson. He's an author. He's a coach. Some people don't agree with some of the things he's saying. It's cool. A part of growth in life is just being able to listen and hear. And then if it makes sense to us, we apply it. And if not, then guess what? We just go out the other ear. Like no harm intended. And that's why that hurt feelings comes in, because when people say stuff and they get triggered, so to speak, they can fill out that hurt feelings report. So I'm liking that, man. I'm gonna have to go ahead and like revise that. So you guys at the bottom of it, you might see a revised 2022. It's gonna be new. I'm gonna fix it up. Don't worry about it. But anyway, Jason Wilson says a lot of great things. And one thing that he pulled from this show he did, and I do have that link of the original video posted in the description, but he brought up Hebrews chapter 12, verses 5 through 11. I did break it up into 2 slides. So ladies, I'll just give you guys one each. Make it fair, right? And anybody else, well, I'm gonna have you guys read the first one, and then I'm gonna put the second one up and the other lady read the next one. So here's the first one.
It's kind of cut off.
Yes, cut us.
No, that's
completely forgot.
verse 5. It starts at 5. You guys don't see that? At 5?
Oh, my son, that right there. So don't read the top.
Yeah. Well,
start at my son. My son, do not make light of the Lord's discipline.
No, it's
right there.
No, I see it. And have you completely forgotten this word of encouragement that addressed you as a father addressed his son? It says, my son does not make light of the Lord's discipline, and do not lose heart when he rebukes you, because the Lord disciplines the one he loves and chastises everyone he accepts as his son.
I'm not sure if you can see that one. Can you see that? Start at verse 7,
Yeah,
Kelly?
I can see that one.
Okay. All right, just read that one.
Endure hardship as discipline. God is treating you as his children. For what children are not disciplined by their father? If you are not disciplined, and everyone undergoes discipline, then are you not legitimate, not true sons and daughters at all? Moreover, we all have had human fathers who disciplined us, and we respected them for it. How much more should we submit to the Father of spirits and live? They discipline us for a little while as they thought best, but God disciplines us for our good, in order that we may share in his holiness. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace, and for those who have been trained by it.
I know I'm taking y'all to church a little bit. I seen somebody post like, what book is this new? Oh, I don't know. I just put in Hebrews chapter 12 verses 5 to 11, and this looks about what he was saying it to be. So if I'm not all into the which book, old, new, whatever, King James, I don't know, but that's what it is. I appreciate you guys reading that. So that was the inspiration for this show. We're gonna break this down into some sections, and we briefly spoke about it beforehand, but I think this is an important conversation. If you guys haven't checked the original video out after this broadcast, make sure you guys do your own time. Sit down with your kids and listen to it, because I think it was very powerful, and it can make an impact if what you're saying is not registered to your child. Maybe the way he articulated in this video may do some work. So I strongly suggest that. But let's go ahead and break it down. Give me 1 second. Hit that like button, y'all. Hey, Rio, you want to say something before I hopped into that?
No, I was just going to say I agreed with Steve in that we discipline our sons differently than when we discipline our daughters. One of the things that I think about when I'm disciplining my son is he reminds me of where I was in different stages of my life and early development. And when I see things in his behavior um, that are flawed, it really is out of caring. Now, he's not going to understand everything at the age that he is now, but I'll often say to him, if you're going to be crying about every little thing, you're going to have a hard time in first grade, right? Kids aren't going to have as much sympathy for you as your mother does, right? So I need you to toughen up, so to speak, about certain things, because I'm trying to prepare you for what you're going to be going into, whether you like it or not. And I think as we grow, from children, even to men, so to speak, there are certain phases in life that we have to go through. And if I can help you, right, so that you don't have to learn these things the hard way, I'm going to try my damnedest. I mean, there's nothing that's going to stop me from giving you insight, so to speak, on where you're going and what it's going to require for you, of you, and to try to make sure that you're built forward. If I can correct some of these behaviors at home, and if I can improve your understanding about certain things, then I feel your path may be a little bit easier, at least easier than some who don't have that at all. So, as men, our level of accountability that we have to have, the level of toughness, thick skin, discipline. It's up to me as as your father to make sure that you are kind of adequate in these compartments, so that you can not be successful for one, right? But also be a strong man of good character. So that's all I wanted to add to that.
I appreciate that, and thank you,
Yeah.
sir. Like while you were speaking, HR did send over that hurt feelings report, so we do have it. It's kind of a little blurry, but this is what it consists of. It's a hurt feelings report. Like we do have some things on there that might be beneficial for someone out there. So on
And
behalf
that's
of the
and
Lapeef Network, go ahead,
and
sir.
that
I'm
is
sorry.
that is ever relevant right there, Jr. None of the men, I hope, are going to be filling out a hurt feelings report. This is these are the things that we must teach our sons. At the end of the day, society does not care who hurt your feelings. You know what I mean? This is the reality. This is the reality.
So my question is, if a grown ass man, fills out that hurt feelings report, all y'all giving him the side eye, he's suspect or something
Yes,
wrong with him.
it's up to us to check him privately. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
That
So
just
pretty
say
much it's for the
wine his
women.
first name.
So pretty much the hurt feelings report is just for the women. It should just be for the women.
That's up to y'all to decide. I'm just
Yeah,
speaking for the men.
yeah,
I'm
right,
just
yeah.
saying.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if I
that'd
agree with
be
that.
a whole
I
lot
don't
of
know if I
fouling,
agree with that.
with the women filling out the report. So
You know, maybe that should be the
I don't know if I
standard,
agree
right?
with that.
Whenever you got a issue or something. Well, I guess that wouldn't promote good communication. So I don't know. We're just having
Well,
fun with it.
here's the thing. It's not that you're not allowed to have hurt feelings, but how are you going to approach it? Are you going to go tattletale, or are you going to speak to the person that hurt your feelings and express it? You know what I'm saying? These are the type of things that I know I'm teaching. You know, it's one of these things to where it's just like you as a man, if you have an issue with another man, then you speak to him directly.
Well, actually, this is really good because
So what if?
prime example,
Yeah.
right?
Go ahead,
Prime
Mama.
example. This is what your fathers are teaching their sons. Like, obviously, they're going to be in workforce, and if there is an issue at work, there's typically a protocol. There's HR. So, if there's an issue at work in a professional setting, would you tell your son that becomes an adult son to handle it, follow the protocol, or handle it offside, man to man or man to woman? Real question.
I would tell my son, you
I've been
change
in
the
that
command.
situation. Yeah, I've been in that situation
As
before.
a chain of command.
Yeah.
Look, if I had a problem, I got a problem with JR right now. My problem is I need some goddamn 2X sweatshirt, JR. I'm gonna come to him as a man, and I'm gonna address him, and we're gonna have a conversation. And if we could come to an agreement, okay. Now, if I feel like JR still not gonna get my 2X goddamn sweatshirt, then I'm gonna talk to his supervisor or his manager. And if I feel like his manager ain't doing it, then I need to talk to Mr. Cole.
All right. Yeah. I'm gonna have to get Hink that 2X. No, but you know, this is I think she made a point, and I've been in that situation where there's a thing called workplace violence. You know, it does exist. So depending on how you approach a situation, because again, I'm thinking men should be men, right? And when I approached the situation, I'm thinking it's just man to man. Granted, there were people around, but I just was focused on this man. This man had transition glasses, and I saw his eyeballs through his glasses. You know, that's just how
Not transition.
keyed in I was in on him. And the highlight that I can remember from that moment was like, you know, keep my fucking name out your mouth. You know, those are my exact words when I spoke with him. Not that it was gonna go any further. No, I didn't think it was going any further. Within 10 minutes, no, actually about within like 20 minutes, I received a phone call saying I've been removed from service pending investigation. And so the lesson, again, this is all lesson. And you could probably say I was emotional, right? Even though you felt you was a man and you was approaching him like a man, you got to understand when you in somebody else's house, there are different rules. And so part of you being a man is you being aware of your situation that you're in. You know, is it a threat? Should I address it this way? Like, what's the safest route? All this plays into that psyche of understanding and being aware of whatever situation you're in. So, unfortunately, when you're in somebody else's house, there are rules. And so you could play chess, and I'm not condoning people do anything, but if you're going to have a man on man conversation, make sure no witnesses around, because then it's your word against their word. But when you have witnesses around, now you're reducing the control of being able to have the control in the narrative. I mean, you could pop some, I ain't gonna say shit. Just don't have no witnesses around when you had that conversation, because there is the potential of it being escalated in a way that you may not be able to control that result. Yeah. So there are protocols. Just understand what comes with it, you know. And I'm not gonna say whether people should snitch or not. That's totally up to you. You know, men, I mean, to me, the man that I am, I'm not gonna bitch about every little thing. If I got a situation, I'm gonna approach it a certain way. But now, since I got that lesson, I understand how I got to handle different things. So
what would you tell your sons in that type of environment? You know,
I'm gonna tell them straight up what I learned. Look, if you're gonna talk to somebody, you talk to somebody just like man to man. But you can't do anything where it's gonna put you where you lose control. You can't go upside somebody else's head per se, and then now you got assault battery, or you got a record because you were thinking emotionally. You know, ask yourself, is it even worth it? A lot of times we see different things that may pose as a threat to everybody else, but it may not be that much of it. If you address it this way, then what? Okay, don't fucking talk to me like that. It's cool. Like one of the things, and you know,
is and I hate to say it, but there's a lot of shootings on the expressways in Chicago. And so if you're not going to react that way that they're reacting, then so what if they cut you off and they gave you the finger? You trying to live to the next day. You got a family that you still providing for, taking care of. Is it really that much of a hassle for you to have to? Does it bother you that much that you got to respond to this person on the expressway, knowing that it's a bunch of crazy motherfuckers out there that have nothing to lose? You know the man that you are, so you don't have to prove your manhood to some stranger that's being reckless, driving, cutting people off, then they tow your car up, then they put your family in risk. You break, get away from that person, and you keep it moving. Guess what? You just the odds just came in your favor of living to see the next day. Because I had somebody, and I had my son in the back seat. I had somebody pull up to me, and I'm like, I'm yelling back and forth. He had this little toolie, and he doing it like this. You don't want this, and I'm just like, I had to think right there in that moment. Because am I willing? Am I gonna bust it? No, I'm not gonna bust at him, because then you put yourself at a risk. Because once they start, like once the police get on the scene and they see this, then you're gonna get some time 9 times out of 10, because it wasn't warranted that you have to shoot this person, whatever the case may be. It probably wasn't a threat. But the fact when you hold that toolie up, I knew what time it was, and I had to like, look, it ain't even worth it. So what I would tell my son is, like I tell everybody, slow everything down. A lot of times we receive that data in and we just trying to respond right away, and we're not really processing. That's why I brought that hurt feelings report. Sometimes you really got to write this down and think about how you want to react. Every situation it doesn't require an immediate reaction right then and there. We just tell ourselves that we got to respond that way. Think about it, because you had that control. Some things require immediate response, like if somebody swerve in front of you and that's immediate response. You got to swerve out the way. Somebody pull out a gun, you gotta react quick. It's just certain things. That's understanding your situation. Situational awareness is key. So that's why I would tell my son, just you gotta be smart in how you move out here. I'm not gonna tell him to let somebody run over him, but you got, if you peep that, is it worth it? And if it's an immediate threat, you gotta be smart about how you respond.
Yeah, I know with me, it depends on the situation. So if it's another little boy, I'm gonna tell him, like, hey, tell that dude, hey, back up off of this. This ain't what you want. And you gave him a fair warning. That's all you can do. Once you gave him a fair warning, anything happens after that, fair game. But you gave him that fair warning. You let him know, back up off of it. If you have to, let the teacher know. Put his ass on paper. And if the teacher don't do anything, talk to assistant principal. That's what I say.
Hold on. I want to tell Amber, there's one thing I tell him too, is like, look, if you can't control yourself, come to me. Let me be able to handle it. Like I literally sat in the office with these people, right? And I was telling my son, he did right, because they wanted to look through his phone. And I said, hell no, you're not looking through your damn phone. They said that he fit the description. That's what they said. They said he fit the description. And I ran my ass up there so goddamn quick. And I sat there amongst these people, and they wasn't us. And I say, no, you're not seeing his phone. I was firm with it. I showed my son the example of how you conduct yourself. I wasn't, tattoos and all. I conducted myself real professional. I had a firm stance on like what was gonna happen. I told him, no, this is not gonna happen. I said, unless there are some legal actions being taken place right now, you're not seeing his phone. We just want to make sure, we just want to just weave him out. Okay, was there other people in there? There was other people that was in there. So why is my son being singled out? Why are you using these words? You fit the description. That's the first time I heard I've been involved with somebody say you fit that description. You have to step in. I believe I might have talked about this on King Talk if I can remember, but sometimes you got to be the example.
Can I ask, did that trigger you, JR, when they put the two word, put the phrase fit the description with your son? Did that trigger something within you?
Nah, because we see it. We still see it to this day, right? So I'm not saying it's an everyday thing, but again, situational awareness. You got to understand what you're dealing with. Not everybody is like that. I'm not going to hold the fire. I'm not going to say all of them act this way. It's not always all, but when it comes to you, and you got that experience, like how do you address it? And I addressed it. I ain't heard nothing else about it, because they knew that they weren't gonna be able to play that move with me.
This ain't no dumb. My son called me up on his AirPod, and I listened to the conversation, and I said, "Put me on speakerphone." I said, "He not saying that. I'm on my way up there." Oh, is he on the phone? Yeah, I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone. No, you're not gonna try to corner him, man. And that's another thing for people that work in these jobs. You got to understand when it's two of them in a room with you. Get your if you're part of a union, get your representation up in there. You don't want to be sitting in there by yourself, where it's them against you. You got to learn how to protect yourselves in all aspects of your life. Whatever that may look like, you gotta break it down. So some form, some way, somehow, you got to understand what's happening in real time, and that's what you teach your kids, like your sons in particular, is situational awareness, because you can't address every situation the same. You can't say this requires an emotional response. Should nothing require an emotional response, but does it require you to act fast? Yeah, you might got to act a little faster here. This one of those situations where you can slow it down a little bit. Let them get on your time. Like, I don't know, but I'll let you know tomorrow. Some things it's like, well, once you guys conclude your investigation, then you reach out to me. My son, as far as I'm concerned, my son is in the clear. So if anything else comes, here's my number. This is the way you reach me. No, you're not seeing this phone. That's some legal action. That's some you got a warrant. The police got a warrant to come look through his phone. Yeah, I'm not about to weave anything out. You can't let people play. You still got to be a man before anything, but you got to be a smart man.
Now, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, like, when it does my son, it come to the girls. No, dog, don't say anything to her. You go straight to your teacher. You go straight to your the counselor, because that situation, if you sit there and say something back to her, now you're gonna look like the bad guy, and that's not what we doing here. So I do it the same way. If I have a issue with a female, a coworker, I ain't got nothing to say to you. We need to have a meeting with our supervisor,
Yeah.
because
I,
I need protection and I need witnesses. Because you're not going to sit there and tell and make up a statement, and they'll automatically go with you like your word is prayer book. Now that's not what we're doing here.
Yeah.
yeah, one of the things I wanted to say real quick, JR, how you handled that traffic situation, I respect it because you did everything that you needed to do in order to protect your not only yourself but your family. And on the other end, in respect to what Hank is saying about things that are situations rather that are relevant to what our youth might be currently going through, um, that really resonates with me too, right? Because, like I said, I always think back to, okay, well, what was it like for me, you know? And so, Hank, when you gave an example about how you're teaching your son to handle conflict, you know what I mean, in school, it's easy to relate to because all we got to think about what was it like for us. We was in sixth grade, seventh grade. I can still remember to this day. There was a time where I must have been in sixth or seventh grade, and that day, for whatever reason, I can remember the class and everything. One brother just kept pushing this button that he knew that I had. You know what I'm saying? And I said to the teacher two times, I say, you better correct this situation because I don't know the exact words, but I told her, I say, basically, you better get in because in a minute I'm about to. And then the second time I said it, she said, well, do it then. Now just think about that. This is who is in charge. This is who my parents were leaving in authority of me at this
That
institution.
heifer was dead wrong.
You know what I'm saying? As soon as she said that, I got up, hauled off, and punched his ass so hard he practically flew through the window, and we tore that class up fighting.
What?
And she was pissed because she thought you had the audacity. I said, you told me to. I said to you twice. I said to
What?
you two times. And you told me. You said it. And now you mad at me. There wasn't, I couldn't, there was nothing really my parent and my dad, for example, I don't think there was anything was able to say to me at that point. What are you going to say? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I got to defend myself. And I don't know about everybody's neighborhoods, but some of the things you're almost conditioned to, you better handle yours because all these other people that's around you laughing, if they see that you're not, then you're gonna have more people to deal with following that up. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of learn to defend and protect yourself. But in that case, I tried to go through the chain of command. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to do my math class that day. I couldn't focus because of what was going on. And I said this to her twice, and that teacher didn't want to be bothered. She didn't like me all that well either, but she didn't want to be bothered. You know what I'm saying? And then what she said is exactly what came into fruition. You know what I mean? Luckily, me and that individual, we was best of friends after that. Sometimes boys just got to fight it out. You know what I'm saying? But it could have went a different direction. What if it escalated and it went further and further like things do these days? You know what I
So, but
mean? So,
as a mother, sorry, as a mother of a 13-year-old boy, and I've kind of described his statue. Like, I'm
mhm,
5'7", he's 13, 5'8", 220 pounds, size 13, and I'm scared shitless for him
mhm.
because
They're not gonna
I
fight him
mean,
fair.
they're not fighting fair. These kids
Mm.
are fighting back with guns.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. So it's like not even just being on one accord as mother and father of these children, but also the institutions who we're leaving them with, right? We got to choose wisely as far as where they go. Because they have an impact. They are an influence. They are the parents when the parents aren't there, right? And things are happening in the schools, but it's few and far between will take accountability and say, you know what, Mrs. Green, I could have contained this situation, but I didn't. I had a lapse in judgment. They're not going to do that. They're just going to say what your son did or what somebody else's son did, and then if the issue was to escalate, whatever case led down the line, they may even throw in how violent they were. These are the things that we're dealing with. You know what I mean? We're within a system here to where it's very hard to help our kids navigate when we're not around.
Yeah.
You know,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying that I think it's very important for us to be present, not only at home but at the schools and wherever else they go. Go ahead, Jared.
Yeah, I want to go ahead and keep it pushing, so make sure we stay on track. Let's get the likes up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Shout out to Lodge. I can see you in getting the chat ninjas together, so appreciate you, sir. I see Ricky Williams boxes in the house. What's going on, brother?
Ricky!
Green Gang, I see you.
Happy
Mons, I see you out
holiday,
there
brother.
doing the works. I see Elephant in the house. Thank you, sir. I appreciate everybody, man. Good seeing you
Malevolent.
guys, man. Welcome. Let's go ahead and comb through this video again. This is from Jason's Wilson's. I guess he got a new podcast he's doing, but we're going to break it down in certain points. So this is the first one.
A little bit of grace because I know the things that I've done against my mother as a single kid, or not a single kid, but just as a kid growing up in a single parent household. So the thing for me, what my wife tries to do is to get me not to be so angry when I discipline, because sometimes I'll go from 0 to 10 in a minute, and they'll both say that, okay, you don't need to get so angry about it. So I still have to figure out why I get as angry as I do, and I think it's because I feel a level of disrespect.
All right, so now we're getting it from like the actual man's version, a father here speaking about his wife. Did you say wife or mother? The mother's children. He said wife. Okay, whatever, don't matter. But basically, she comes in and she's basically saying he's being too rough, and he said he feels a level of disrespect. Disrespect. And when I tell you that this particular video hit home for me, and it probably hit home from other people, but typically when your child does that, do we feel a level of disrespect when we telling our children, some our sons in particular, and they talking back? Do we feel disrespect, gentlemen? Women too.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel disrespected when he doesn't say yes, ma'am.
Can I don't know if I don't want to go further into the whatever questions you have, JR. But I've heard and I've seen with my brother and my father, is it true that when a boy gets to a certain age, he challenges his dad, and it's just like that one, it's like that inevitable fight that happens?
Oh yeah, your kid's gonna buck. They're gonna try you. That boy's gonna buck. He's gonna try. You see, gonna try to see what he can do, or how tough he could think he is. I mean, I had to do it with my son. I mean, I hit him in his goddamn jaw. I ain't gonna lie to you. CPS might get called on me after saying that. But I hit him in his goddamn jaw, and I told him, I said, I held back on you. Next time I'm gonna dislocate that son of a bitch. Watch your goddamn mouth. I don't think you know who you're talking to. But yeah, they're gonna try you. And so you just gotta, it's all about how you handle it. You know what I'm saying? So
that's not considered like not a rite of passage, but like it's just that one time they feel in themselves, or they feel like they're just as strong as their dad, or they can take them.
Yeah, because there's always like this like competition, right? With dad, like they want to be as fast, as strong, as smart. Like they're trying to reach your level, so they challenge it to see, have I gotten there yet? Have I achieved it?
Just imagine if you're, the father supposed to be the king of the castle, and then you have this cub that he's raising up, and he might be in the hierarchy of his friend group. Women like him. He's the best athlete. He's the smartest. He's the king of his little subculture, and he's getting all this praise. Then he comes home into somebody else's castle where they're ruling with an iron fist. So you start to push back. You start to smell yourself. I get bitches. I get this. I get that. Who you? Now I'm your father. And eventually there's gonna come that clash. And sometimes, your pops gotta cave that chest and let you know, not yet, son. You gonna get it. You gonna get the kingdom soon, but not yet, bro.
It's like that Mufasa Simba thing. Like you'll have it, not yet.
Yeah, Jay just knocked that one out the park. I agree with that 1,000%. I'm gonna put a little disclosure in there. With and what Hink said, even with what he had to do, you got to make sure that these things are being done in the early stages. You know what I mean? Now, if you're a brother, you just say you're going to be in your son's life at 14 or something, I wouldn't recommend that shit. You know what I'm saying? But if you've been there from the jump and you know that he knows better, you've been raising this boy, you've been grooming this boy, and you see him out of character and he disrespects you, yeah, you got to check that. And you got to check that hard. You know what I mean? Like Jay said, they're going through life too. Their egos and everything is developing. You know what I mean? They got hormones and various things going on, but you got to establish that dominance. One thing I'm gonna say is eventually roles reverse. Like Jay said, he's a lot bigger, stronger, younger than his dad is right now, but I bet ain't nothing changed about the hierarchy of respect. You know what I mean? And we got to make sure of that. They will
So I
be
have a
there.
question though,
Go ahead.
because you want them to turn into that man that can take care of their household, protect their family, their wife, their kids. At what point do you let them transition into that without like stifling their growth, I guess, but still maintaining that respect? Like,
Their growth shouldn't come with disrespecting you. And so we were just specifically aiming at, if you feel disrespected by your son or by your daughter, 9 times out of 10, this is something that is happening um, in such a way to where you, if with every bone in your body, you feel like, wait a second, my child is out of character. You know what I mean? This hasn't so much to do with their becoming an adult. This is more or less, I
this
can't
isn't
believe
like
you.
they're independent, they're making their own man
Right.
decisions. It's like they're disrespecting me.
Right. It is exactly. This is, I can't believe you spoke to me that way. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, listen, I've been listen. They handed me to you out the womb. You know what I mean? I made your bottle, change your diapers. I didn't work 9 to 5 for 40 years or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And make sure you have everything that you need. And you speak to me. You know what I mean? That way, that those are the things that we can kind of deal with early on. And if we don't, this is where we have those adults who sometimes we come across and would talk to their parents like, I mean, with so much disrespect that you want to intervene. You know what I mean? And that is something that we could have dealt with earlier on. You have to establish that. And if you don't, it's too late. There's a point where it will be too late.
Yeah.
I
And when
agree, because
there's
I was my father's rebel child. I was the one that questioned him, and like I always would like, well, why this, dad, and why that? Because I wanted to know. Like, you can't just tell me no. I want to know why it's a no. I was that that child. I was his rebel. But there came a point where I realized, because I was learning so much, I was experiencing the world. I was like, I'm smart too now. But I realized that it doesn't matter what I knew, he knew more. And there was a certain point where I knew no matter what he wanted, what was best for me. So if I just listened to him, my life usually just took the path of least resistance, and it was smoother when I wasn't trying to do my own thing. I was like following his leadership. So like but it was something I learned like after trying to buck him and then following his lead, his guidance. So it was a completely different lifestyle.
Yeah.
It didn't take me long.
We're gonna go to Jay, then I'm gonna finish coming through this video. Go ahead, Jay.
No, I'm saying in those situations, the opportunity lies for your relationship to get stronger. You know what I mean? Like as Hank was explaining with his son, where he had to, check that chin. I'm sure that came with a conversation like, yeah, dog, you got a little glass jaw over there, so you can't be talking to me like that. But I love you, man. Protect, keep that right up. I got that chin real quick. You know what I mean? So love is love is evident there. Even though we just had a real situation, you want to cover it with I love you. You want him to feel that, not like we're at odds. We're on the same team. This is gonna be your seat pretty soon. I just want to make sure you're ready for it. You
All
got to
right.
tighten that chin up.
All right, we're gonna finish coming through this real quick.
There you go. And
When
even
I tell him to do something,
but then we go even deeper as men, we have to understand that disrespect is really a surface emotion. It's really hurt. Cause I know how much you love him. Like, okay, and so it's like, well, man, much as I do for you, you won't even do the chores.
right?
You won't do your homework. I talk to your dad, you know what I'm saying? I love this brother. And so it comes off like we're angry at you guys. and we are initially, but when you dig deeper and you find like if there's a leak somewhere underground, the water may rise to the surface, right? But that's not where the problem is. You got to dig to fix the issue. When we dig a little deeper past the disrespect, the anger, okay, while we're mad, we're really hurt as fathers. The good fathers who give you a good life, make sure you have your clothes, everything we want you to have the best.
So would you guys agree that it's not disrespect, that it's more so hurt? Like, how dare you, especially an active father, how dare you act the way you acting? And I'm been there from you since day one. So is it disrespect or is it hurt?
To me, it's more disappointment. You disappointed that I do all of these things for you, yet you still feel like you don't have to respect my wishes or my request of what I need for you to do. So it's just really disappointing.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of my biggest things, you know what I'm saying, with my dad. It went from us having, battles or button heads to me not wanting to disappoint him. You know what I mean? Like I would be hurt. He was hurt for a whole nother reason. I was hurt because damn, I let him down. You know what I mean?
It truly is. I mean, it's disappointment because you are a product of our raising, and then you got to go out there in the world without us. So if
That's
you're
real.
willing to disrespect me, or I can just imagine what you're gonna do out there. You know what I'm saying? Out there where I can't even protect you. You know what I'm saying? I put it to you like this. I think it's my belief that we got to go back to that old, and I hate to say black family, but style of if we were all one family sitting in a room in this panel, and Jr. say something out the Jr.'s son or somebody say something talking out the way or talking back. I come from that family style that all the adults in the room might have got quiet for a second because they just heard somebody child talking back to an adult and they got some kind of tone or sass in their voice. Now they gonna wait for you as the parent to address it. Had you not addressed it, somebody else is gonna tag themselves in, if not multiple people, to address that child and say, listen, this is not what you're gonna do in here, or you're gonna have some problems that you can't handle. You know what I'm saying? And that's When they used to say take a village, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm telling you, in my opinion, that's the method you have to have. Whether it be family, extended family, whatever, you as a child will not do that in here. So like I say, this is disclosure. If any of y'all kids get outrageous with y'all and I'm around, let you know I'm gonna help you out.
And
I came up in that generation, so
Yeah.
And it's also, I guess, depending on the man. I mean, I just experienced this a month ago. Obviously, I'm a single mother, and I was on the phone with a guy, and he overheard my son talking to me in a disrespectful manner. And he was just like, yo, let me talk to your son. And he got on the phone and had a conversation with my son. Very respectful, but like kind of broke down all the things that I do for him. And my son was so receptive of it because I guess it was a man's tone, but he overheard my son being disrespectful towards me. And first he was like, I overheard, your son being disrespectful. Can I speak to him? And my son was receptive. But it was just that type of man that saw that and wanted to jump in, but gave him advice like, list all the things I did for him, like don't disrespect your mother. When she asks you to do something, you do it, and here's why. And literally, my son did a 180. It didn't last long, but for a good couple weeks, he did a complete 180 because how that man delivered the message based on him overhearing him disrespect me on the phone.
Yeah, I mean, I check on boys all the time. My son's teammates.
Why do sons do that with their moms, though?
You say what?
Why do sons do that with their moms?
Well, hold on. They don't just do it with their moms. They do it with their dads. Let me give you an example. My son, I have to repeat myself. I ask him, man, did you do this? Yeah. What? What'd you say? Yes, sir. And he look at me like he's crazy. But then he'll go out here, talk to the neighbor. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I'm like, God damn. They get that shit right off the goddamn bat. Why I gotta ask you again, what did I say? And then you say it with a grudging and tone about you. I don't understand that, but it's just the way he is. And what I'm hearing, a lot of other parents have the same situation. They say, oh, your son's so pretty. He's mannerable. I look like he's crazy. You talking about him? Okay, well. I said, as long as he get that out there, I'm okay with it, but another thing is, parents, don't ever let your pride get in the way where you can't allow someone else to help your child out. Don't ever do that. Because I let that shit go a long time. As long as my son or my daughter gets the message, I don't give a shit where it comes from. As long as it's encouraging, uplifting, it's going to help her or help him benefit, I'm all for it. So I remember, like I said,
you mean verbally, right? You don't mean like physically.
No. I'm just talking about.
Like, you're not okay if another man punches your son in the chest.
No, nothing like that. We don't do that. We don't do that.
Nope.
So I told the story before. I went to the store and I just sit there and watch this child just whooping this woman's ass. He's doing whatever he wants, acting a fool, grabbing stuff, opening bags of chips, just acting foolish. And I went over and said something. I said, hey, young man, don't disrespect your mom like that. You need to listen with your. She asked me, who am I talking to? This is my son. Don't talk to my son. I'm like, man, this
what?
Your ass. Hell, I'm trying to help you. Okay, I stand down. I leave it alone. So, but yeah, and it's, it was kind of discouraging. I started to scale back a little bit by doing it if I see it again. But then I'm like, man, I'm letting our future down. He's a young black man. He's going to be a man one day. I can't do this. So I'm going to continue to do it. I'm just going to have to deal with the bald head hoes who's got an issue with it. That's it.
Oh, man. Let me go ahead and finish coming through this video real quick.
So when we ask you to do something and you don't do it, the anger is rooted in, this isn't fair. I love you, man. I'm doing everything I can for you. And you still not, you don't love me, basically. Because Yeshua, Jesus said, if you love me, you will do what I say.
Obey my commands.
Yeah, you will obey my commands. And so as sons, the reason why, we're hard on you is because we want to save you while there's still hope. We manipulate moms. Why? Because we know moms wants to save us in a different way.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The one thing I was noticing
the young man that's on the far left and the father, like that's his father that's on the right, and you can really like look at his body language, so to speak, because he might be processing that this is what he was doing, and he even gave some examples of how he may have disrespected and tried to pin the mother against the father and so forth. So I think it's real key to, like Hink said, he doesn't really care who's giving the message to their child, because as parents, one thing you got to understand is that you may not be doing it right. You may not be enough. You may not be that voice that's reaching them. And it's not that you're giving away your love to somebody. That's guilt. Typically, if you know you wasn't active, you weren't doing what you're supposed to be doing in your child's life, and then somebody else comes in, you kind of get offended. That's my child. That's my child, because you've gone through a certain level of trauma where you don't know how to handle it. So you don't want nobody else to come in and intervene. But sometimes children need that. Sometimes we may have to learn. I've been in a session before where I heard the counselor break something down, and the way he broke it down, it made sense. You got to understand that we all don't learn the same, and we all don't know how to express what it is that we're trying to do. And it even comes to the husbands, right? Like your woman may not be falling in line because you don't know how to address her. It don't have to be with your voice or your choice of words. It could just be how you carrying yourself. That's a form of communication, is your body language. She may not look at you and look at you as being a confident man, or that you can address the situation. So she's assuming that role that you're supposed to be in. So we have to understand that we got to look at us. And again, that's where that hurt feelings report come in. Sometimes we start writing down, we might be able to learn a few things about ourselves. Sometimes we got to question ourselves and if we are the right person to do that. So it's just something that I noticed. Anybody want to speak on it? We just get one person to speak on it. We can finish coming through.
I am definitely, a couple years ago, I dropped my pride and realized I was raising my son in a dysfunctional home because it was a single mother. Sorry, car. It was a single mother household.
Maserati, Amber.
Huh?
That's that Maserati, Amber.
I know, right? And so I accepted the fact is that it's just been me and him. I mean, his dad was involved, on the weekends and things like that, but he never grew up in a home where it was two parents. And I realized we're at the point now where, because I had to be the mother and disciplinarian operating in masculine and feminine energy, I think you said like he never really experienced the nurturing side of me because I always had to be warden. And now we're in a space where we're missing each other. I'm quite sure the sound of my voice just annoys the hell out of him. Even when I try to be as understanding or communicative, he just can't hear me. Where now, he's at the point where he's getting ready to live with his dad. But I'm understanding that now, that being careless, we were together, and having a child out of wedlock really did him a disservice. And I had to be honest with myself. That was it.
Okay. All right, y'all. We're going to finish coming through that. Appreciate that, Amber Marie.
That's good, Amber.
Go ahead and see how much we got on this.
All right. Yep. And what I want you guys to get in your hearts is that that's evil, because you're taking advantage of mom. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, and it's a good scripture here. Our fathers, this is Hebrews chapter 12, verse 11. It says, our fathers disciplined us for a short time as they thought which was best. So we're doing the best that we can.
Absolutely.
All right. And it says, but Yah, or God, disciplines us for our good, so that we may share in his holiness. This is the key. For the moment, all discipline seems painful rather than pleasant, but later it yields the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been what? Trained by it. So when we avoid it and run from it and manipulate mom and do everything that we can to avoid it, eventually it catches us like it caught me. I don't know about you, B. When I got up from under my mother's house, I made a lot of mistakes, man. I could have been dead a few times.
So I know he was talking about the fathers, but that discipline kind of hit home for adults as well. When he brought that up,
like running from it. Sometimes discipline is a great thing. It's a great thing. That's why when the lessons I was talking about earlier, when you get those lessons, you got to learn how to appreciate them, man. You definitely do. He brought up about the manipulation with the
But I
moms.
feel
I
like when
think
you're younger, you don't see it.
you don't see what?
You don't
The
see that
lessons.
discipline is a good thing. Yeah, you don't see it like that. You're like, you're just trying to ruin my life. I just want to have a good time. I just want to do what I want to do. And my parents are ruining my life. Like, how do you give that balance to a child? Like, how do you make them see it? Because I remember I didn't see it when I was younger. My son doesn't see it now. But when you look
I know
back in
when
retrospect,
my son was
there
younger.
are lessons. Like,
Well, I would say, Kelly, I know when my son was younger, before I would spank him, I let him know. I asked him, I said, do you know why you're about to get a spanking? And of course, he gives me his answer.
my
Sometimes
dad
it
did
be
that too.
on, sometimes it be totally off. But I still let him. But him communicate, him understanding what he did wrong, him recognize it, and now this is your punishment. So that's what I did. I need to let you know, I'm not doing this because I'm mad at you. I'm not doing this because I'm upset with you. I'm doing this because this is your consequences to your actions. Every time there's an action, there's a consequence. So this is your consequence to your action. So now you must serve the piper.
Yeah.
My dad used to do that too. He'd be like, I'm spanking you because I love you. I'm like, well, love me less, Dad. I don't want to, like, every time, really? I personally got more spankings than all 5 of my siblings combined because I was
Hard hit.
the risk taker.
You thug life,
I
Kelly.
just took risk. I took risk. I was like,
Kelly.
okay, next time I do this, I can't get caught doing it. I didn't say, oh, I can't do this anymore. I
He
got
was on that,
spanked for it.
on that bullshit. Kelly was on that
No,
bullshit.
I just no, I just took risks. I was like, oh, let me test the line. Let me test it. Let me test it. Let me test it. I just kept testing, kept getting spanked for it. So, but he would always spank me, but it never felt like he didn't love me. But I just felt like, can you love me a little bit less? I never saw the lesson. How do you teach a child a lesson as a child?
Yeah.
And
Go ahead,
I
see,
see
Jay.
it
And then
now.
go ahead, Jay. Then we'll move on and come through the video.
yeah, but my sister was like what you explaining, Kelly. My sister was the risk taker. You know what I mean? Like I had a curfew and I was there. I was running like, you know what I'm saying, the Terminator trying to make it there before curfew. My sister, she was the one that broke curfew, took her heels off and snuck in, and you know what I mean? She did all of that. So she was the risk taker. Um, in terms of what you were saying about the mother or being taken advantage of, or I think it's whatever the roles are established. You know, you have one parent that's usually the enforcer, the other parent is usually the comforter, you know, the nurturer. I think like with my mom, I'd be like, yo, can I go outside? Ask your father. I'd be like, you my parent too. You know, I always gotta ask him. You know, that was me kind of just trying to run game, you know. So it's really whoever the enforcer versus the comforter. If you know you can get over on somebody, you're gonna try it. You're gonna try it.
All right, we're gonna go
But
ahead
is
and
the mom always the comforter and the dad's always the enforcer, or are the roles ever?
Yeah, I've seen situations where the mom is straight up, you know, the enforcer.
all right, let's come through this a little bit. Fast forward a little bit. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Appreciate you guys. Welcome to LAPEEF-ING Sundays. Get your tickets to Atlanta. Link is posted at the top of the chat. All right, let's come through.
Game ain't even tight. So he fell asleep doing what he wasn't supposed to do. So he says to me, he says to me, he says, I don't know, Dad. So I'm like, so I grabbed the controller and I look a little more. I'm like, headphones? So then I just follow the train. I'm mad. I got in him. It got real serious because it was beyond Bruce, Bruce's dad I'm talking to now, for those of you, he's off camera. It wasn't hurt at that point.
Anger.
It wasn't even anger. It was fear.
On your end?
Yes, I feared for my son's life because if he's not doing what I'm telling him to do now, when he gets older, that manifests into other things. And I don't want you shot and killed for something, you're doing something you're not supposed to do. I don't want you to lose your job and you're taking care of my grandchildren.
Right.
And you get caught sleeping on the job.
So I really want to speak on this, and I know Ricky's in the back. I'm gonna bring you up in a second, Ricky. But um, I'm currently looking at how I'm fathering, right? And I could be the best father, the greatest father, according to you guys, outside looking in, right? But I think one thing we got to understand is that it doesn't really matter what the outside people are saying. They can say you're a good father. As a father, you're going to always continue to still have to grow as a father. There's always a better way that you can do things. And one of the things that I tell my son similar to this is like, I'm trying to get you right. You're 17, you're going to be 18. You already think you're growing already. I got to get as much of whatever I'm trying to push in you as quickly as possible, because once you get released and once you just totally just say, you know, fuck you, so to speak, hopefully they don't get like that, but some teenagers do. Some teenagers don't figure it out till later, until they have to go out there and fall on the ass a few times to realize what you were saying and was got some truth to it. So you got to try to get to them while you can, because once they're gone, then they're going to have to make a choice, a decision. They're already doing it, but they don't really they're not going to have their guidance. They're not going to have you in your ear. They're not going to be able to turn to you and you be able to save you. In some instances, you can't save them now, because if they do some fucked up shit, they're going to charge them as an adult. If they do some fucked up shit, then they can get kicked out. So you got them a little bit, but it's that fear of they still ain't right yet. They still not there yet. They still don't know what the hell they want to do. They talking about not going to college, and that's a whole different conversation. Whether they should go to college, and we probably should have that nevertheless. But there's that fear. Am I the only one that has that fear? That's still, they're not up to par yet. At 17, they not up to par yet. I gotta try to get as much of it as I can. They don't see you doing that. You own me. You can't let me breathe. I'm 17. Let's talk, y'all.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. My son's 16. He'll be 17 in July, so I can relate. You know, some of the most beautiful things in the world is when you see your son actually doing what you've been pressing him to do forever, and now he's out there doing it. He's not only doing it, I'm watching him sharing with his teammates on some of the lessons that I teach him on how to be a leader, encouraging and uplifting your teammates. Praise them, even though they may made a mistake. Don't let them put their head down. Communicate. We look man eye to eye, or anybody eye to eye. We don't look down. We don't look up. We don't look around. We look them square in the eye. I don't care if they're praising you or they in your ass. You look them eye to eye. You know, and I'm seeing these things happening, and now he's doing his teammates like that. So that's the most beautiful thing I could see. But as far as dealing with that, man, yeah, there's times where I see him making mistakes, and I'm like, man, and I'm sharing with his mother, man, this dude's gonna be on somebody's college campus within less than 9 months, and I'm afraid as hell he is not emotionally ready for that. These girls right now, they got his nose wide goddamn open. He got his first piece of ass, and now he don't know how to act.
Can I ask a question to the guys? Because obviously, do you all remember when you all were 17? So can you, and your parents or whoever your guardian was feeling you weren't ready? So can you relate to your 17, 16, 17-year-old sons? Where they at?
No, because I didn't have he had a way more opportunities and access than I did.
No doubt.
I had to, my time we had to deal with what was in our neighborhood, what's around us. Now it's he can go international with it, and so it's a big difference, like I said. But also, like what Rio was saying, I got disciplined by my neighbors. You know what I'm saying? I got disciplined by my friends' mothers and fathers 2 blocks away. I mean, I remember the neighbor came down and whooped my ass. he's not my father, but the neighbor came down and whooped my ass because I was acting the goddamn fool. My son don't have to worry about that. A neighbor may not even say nothing. They see him doing wrong and won't say shit. That didn't happen in my time. So yeah, but some things I can relate to. You know, gone off little girls when I was his age. Yeah, I love the big old asses and big titties. Yeah, I was dealing with. Yeah. I was dealing with that, but you know, he has a lot more actions than I have. I had to go get the. I go have to get the Playboy, the Penthouse magazine, the one that had the brown cover around him. He opened his phone up and on Instagram, he getting all that. So yeah, that's a big difference.
All right. What's going on, Ricky Williams? Welcome to the show, brother. What you got
Happy
for us?
Father's Day, Ricky.
Welcome, Ricky.
Yeah, happy Father's Day, Ricky. My bad.
Happy Father's Day, Rick. What's up, Slick Rick?
What's up with y'all, man? Peace to y'all, man. Happy Father's Day to the fathers and the dads, man. All of y'all, whether you doing it or not, because if it wasn't for you, the people that you find wouldn't be here. Y'all remember that, right? Y'all remember that, right? If it wasn't for your daddy nutting up and your mama, you wouldn't be here to complain. So y'all need to take it that way, right? So I think that's the biggest disconnect that parents have, especially us, grew up, you know, in worse times. I mean, as I always say, the responsibility of a parent is to give their children a better life than they did, right? What we forget as parents, right, is that to us, because what we went through dealing with, you know, crack in the 80s, you know, not coming home and ain't no food in the refrigerator, your lights turned off, right? That's what we knew. Now we present a better life to our children, and we expect them to know and understand what we went through. Oh, you got it so much better than I did. So you see what I'm saying? Wasn't that the way it's supposed to be? Ain't the way you raising me the way you should have grown up? That's the way they look at it. They don't know what you went through. They don't see it like that. Their reality is totally different because of you. Right? So when we look inside ourselves and like, I went through it with one of my stepdaughters and one of my stepsons, right? Rest of them, no problem. I never looked at it as disrespect, right? I looked at it as part of just happening, right? No matter what y'all say and how people look at this, everybody want to blame it. You want to blame it on, well, I was hurt, I was disrespect. No, if your son buck up at you, you a man, you know what it is. Really, you like, this dude is trying to test me. That's really what it is. At the end of the day, that's like in a cub full of lions. Once that little cub jump up, you on the History Channel, what that male lion do? Pop, right? Who you growling at? Pop. Big paw versus little paw. That's just what it is, right? But we got to learn to think different like that. Like I said, with the son I had a problem with, I never looked at it as disrespect. I looked at him like, hey, you just think it's your time. You know what I'm saying? You think it's your time. We talked about it. We sat down, talked about it. I let them know what's going on. When that didn't work, then it's going to become a tussle situation, right? That's what men do. And that's really the issue with women, is that y'all not built emotionally, right, to deal with that type of aggression from your child. Y'all the nurturers, right? This is why fathers are so important, right?
That's true.
It's not because I'm human and we're thinking, you know, we have the ability to, you know, think logically and cognitively. No, it's a nature thing, right? And another thing is that it's another thing I look at is like, again, we forget that we was kids because you grown and you pay bills, right? A lot of the stuff your kids are doing to you is the same thing you did to your mom or your dad. What your mama say? Wait till you get kids, you'll see. Right? Just wait.
Exactly.
Oh, you know everything, huh? Right? Because they did the same thing. It's the nature of life of us having children. You know what I'm saying? And all you can do, you can be scared for your kids all you want. All you can do is give them the baseline. That's all you can do, is give them a good ground set of rules that they can abide by, because no matter what, no matter how good or how rich you are or how much money you got to provide or what you putting in your kid's pocket or what shoes, there's going to come a time in your kid's life when they start to question your way of thinking, right? They're going to question your way of thinking, and it's just part of it. All you can do is know that, hey, I taught you, I provided for you the best way I could, because that's all I could do, right? And when they go out in the world, hopefully the baseline you set when the world kick them in the ass, because it's gonna happen, right? It's gonna happen, that they had that baseline to come back to, because at the end of the day, even though they came out of us, even though we nurtured them and built them up, they're gonna be their own people. That's all I got.
All right.
That was deep, Ricky.
Yeah, it was. Definitely appreciate it.
Are you,
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna ask, are you sure you're not a pastor? I
No,
feel like I'm in church right now.
I'm just me. I'm just me. Nope. I have a lot
I
of
was ready to like.
I have a lot of thought about this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no losses, only lessons, right? And they stay losses because you don't sit back and think about and reevaluate the part you played in it.
Ricky, can I ask you a question?
Sure thing.
When you married your wife and you know, obviously you was going to have bonus children, a stepdaughter and stepson, what was how did you mentally and physically prepare yourself with the possible challenges of having stepchildren, specifically a stepson?
Great question. Great question. I could say this, and I already exposed this on Humble Dad. I'll let y'all know, right? Because I had a stepfather, and I never wanted a child to go through what we went through with my stepfather. You know what I'm saying? My stepfather was he had raped and molested my older sister for years. You know what I'm saying? Some situations came up where it wasn't handled the correct way. And at the end of the day, when I was 18, right before I went to the Army, I beat the shit out of my stepfather and kicked him out the house. Right? But I knew that the thing was this, right? Just because having a stepfather, yeah, that's like, and I'm gonna refer this back to King Talk, because Shannon was trying to press me about, oh, even though he was a stepfather and he stepped in, you don't appreciate him for that. I was like, I understand what he took on, but I don't respect him as a man. Right? I never want anybody, our children, I don't care what nobody say. I understand you didn't birth them. I understand that they're not your seed, they're not your legacy. I've been through it when my kids that I raised said, "You're not my dad." I understand that, right? But I don't want our children to know what it's not to be loved by a man with no repercussions, with no intentions, that I'm here to be here for you, right? And this is all my children. But you know, they say being a stepfather is a thankless job. In some way it is, but that's only if you allow it to be. It doesn't matter what my stepchildren say. I raised you, right? My son is in a wonderful marriage with a wonderful woman. He's about to have his second child. It's a beautiful thing. I groomed him. My daughter just opened up her own massage business. I groomed her, right? I don't require anyone to give me credit. I give me credit. I give me credit because I was there. You can't take it away from me. You're going to take it away
really
from
awesome.
me? I was the one here, right? So with that being said, everybody trying to make it like, you know, this standard that you shouldn't do this and that. You do what's right for you. I love my wife that much. Right? And because I didn't have my dad in my life, and the man I had that was a substitute was a piece of shit. And I wouldn't wish that on no child.
That's awesome.
Thank you for answering.
All right, I'm gonna finish coming through this video real quick.
Deny you the discipline that you deserve.
Right.
And I don't even mean deserve in a negative way. You deserve it because it's the only thing that can train you up the right way. You deserve discipline. You do. So as parents, especially I want to talk to the mothers for a brief second. When you have a good husband, or say you're divorced or you never got married, but the father of your son is still a good man. He loves your son. He wants the best for your son. I can tell you the same thing with Bruce Collins, his father, and these young men can tell you. The best thing you can do is allow them to receive the discipline they deserve. And I'm very careful in saying this because, that's your son too. You love him. Heck, real talk, they went through the most to get you here. That's why we get on you whenever you talk. Well, you don't talk back to your mother, but anything you do to her that to me isn't right, I'm on you because she almost died having you. All of your mothers could have died having you. Manipulating our moms is really evil. You're taking her kindness and using it against her. You're taking her love and using it against her. And that's what we have to turn against and turn that warrior on and like, no. I'm going to take advantage of this good love I get from my mom and be the best son I can be. Because there's a lot of boys who don't have that. When you have that, when you have a mother who loves you, who will give you anything, do anything for you, you don't abuse that. You take advantage of that. Okay. Now I'm about to be the best at this.
All right. Played a little bit more video. Anybody want to speak to this?
Well, look, I'm all for that. My kids not disrespecting mothers. I can't stand it. Like in the video, he said, man, mother's gonna be there for you regardless of what you do. You go out there and commit a homicide. I'm sure if OJ's mother was still around, well, I think she was still around when he got out and got off. She was right there with him. She was right there with him for support, even though she done killed these two white folks. Depends on where you stand if you believe it, he did it or not.
He did
Allegedly.
it. He did it.
I'm just saying. She stood by his old sorry black ass. She stood by him to the very end. She stood by him. So that's just how much mothers love their kids, especially their sons. So when I had to get on my son, I said, man, don't be disrespectful to your mother. I don't care. I don't care how mad she make you. I don't care how upset you think you are at her. You better not, because I promise you, she'll be the last one to turn her back on you. Everybody else in the world will turn their back on you, but the one that won't is your mother. So don't disrespect.
Hey, Ricky, I don't know if you agree with it or if you disagreed. I seen you made an expression. What are your thoughts about it?
No, I think no one's above reproach. Okay. Sometimes mothers are wrong. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying be disrespectful, but or even challenge the authority. I'm saying challenge a lie. Right? And again, I don't put it that way because I went through things with my mother that I'm not going to get into. You know what I'm saying? But she only knows what she knows too. She only knows her love language and what she looks like, for what she looks at as love, or what she's willing to do to be loved or accepted by somebody. Right? How can you blame them? And that's the whole thing. I just say we all just people at the end of the day going through this life together in a journey, man. And we all, players mess up. You know what I'm saying? Players mess up, man. But are you willing to forgive that person for simply being them? A lot of people not willing to do that, but they want grace towards them. You want that same grace that you want to extend to nobody else. Yeah, that's your mom at the end of the day, but she a person with her faults and her hurts and her brokenness. Right?
I agree. And then the older that you get, you start to see your parents' flaws. But I still don't think you should be disrespectful towards them. Like when you're younger, you think, my parents are perfect. Everything they say is right. But then you become older, you start to think for yourself, and you realize, some of their thought processes are a little bit different. But I still don't think you should disrespect your parents.
All right, and with all my children, my children that I made, and my stepchildren, when we had to talk, when they become, I like to say lucid, because that's what it is. They become lucid at what's going on in the world around them. I said, hey, if you think I'm wrong, let's talk about it. Right? I'm not always right. We all people, man. We all make mistakes.
Yeah, I think this kind of plays into what I was speaking about on this past King talk, and even now, when I mentioned that we all humans, and so, but you never know what battle somebody else is going through.
even though it may not appear they're going through a battle. You may not know what trauma they living through. They may not even realize that they living through trauma. And so now you're battling two things. You're battling the fact that y'all can't agree, but then also they got this trauma aspect that's affecting they psyche on how they thinking about the situation that's right in front of you. So you may not be that person, as I stated before, to be able to reach your child. Unfortunately, it has come to that. But as a parent, and as a father, you got to figure it out. We problem solvers, right? You can't give up because that's your child. So if you can't reach them, then what are you going to do? What are you going to add to it? That's when the therapy come in. Maybe you might have a mentor. Maybe somebody else might be a role model. You may not be a role model to your child, but be man enough to be able to accept that for whatever reason. Maybe you could be a role model later, but if they don't value you and like respect you, then you got to figure this shit out. Under no circumstance can you give up. We all battling stuff, and Ricky spoke to this. We got a lot of people that judge everybody else, but they won't judge themselves. They will measure another person's wrong and then use it against them. But if somebody was to measure your wrong, what would that look
You
like?
don't even want to hear it.
Yeah, like what would that look like? It's not up for us to be able to figure out what everybody else got going on, like what they've done. It's like where you are now. People are so quick to taint other people's minds with their own insecurities and traumas, and they want you to feel the same way that I feel about this person. I want you to feel like that too. No, we humans. Everybody is flawed. Everybody is not perfect, but where are you at now? Because that's what I like to base it off of when I surround myself with people. It's like, where are you right now? It's not up to me to judge what you've done. Some things I might not even want to know. I'm cool with knowing this, because it's always going to be a level and it's always going to be a certain way I move with people. You just don't go all in, but as you take it as it comes. I'm like day to day. I want to hear shit else. So we humans, we trying to figure it out. We trying to navigate through life. We trying to understand it. We trying to get the bigger picture, and that's going to be ongoing because guess what? That's life. We will never 100% have it figured out. Never will. So quit trying to figure it out. Just learn how to be able to manage and navigate and appreciate just waking up. Some people didn't wait. It's a true story. I guarantee you, if we was to look down and see how many deaths we had today, some people did not wake up. Some people didn't even get a chance to go to sleep, and we tripping over this surface level shit, bickering, battling back and forth. Understand when we get a sign off this shit that we are still gonna be humans. You could be pretty as hell today and wake up and the left side of your face don't move. You can wake up and shit. Now your leg got to get amputated. You got to have a damn emergency surgery, and they got to chop off your leg. But you so fucking beautiful, right? Then you start to think about who you gonna die with, right? Because ain't nobody else gonna. Let's be real. Once you lose a leg, because we humans, right? That's what humans do. You become less valuable in the world. Like anybody going, it's not gonna be too many people that want to date somebody, and unfortunately, it's sad. But while you won't want all this time and you having your hot girl summer and I'm done with me and like I get married later, it's gonna be harder to grow with somebody. Does it happen? Yeah, some people do grow with each other. Some people meet people at the age of 50 and they have a kumbaya life, but it don't always work out that way. So you got to make some decisions early on because life is you can grow old and that could be a lonely feeling when you land up in that nursing home and ain't nobody come to see your ass because you ain't built no relationships early on. Like you chose to
It
do
happened to
whatever it
my
is you want to do,
father.
be in your career. I don't need nobody. But when that reality set in, people trying to battle their own battles at that time. They ain't got time to sit there and go visit you in the hospital when they leg fucked up themselves. You want them to struggle to come see you when they sitting at home married, living a happy life? No. You better get it while you can. You better figure this thing out called life.
You better manage it.
It happened to my father. My father had a stroke at the age of 54, and he was a go-getter. He never stopped. He was always go, go, go. And it was very humbling because he lost the entire left side of his body. My mom was there for him, and she had to quit her job so she could care for him full time.
Sorry to hear
But if
that.
he didn't have that, I mean, he lived another 12 years after that, so he was a fighter. But if he didn't have my mom, I mean, we would have been there as his children, but he had a woman there that loved him and valued him and supported him no matter what. She rode with him. So I think
Yeah.
that's important. People always want to not get married and live their best life and not have kids. And what happens when you're that old person in the nursing home and no one's coming to visit you? When you're done YOLOing through life, who's coming to see you? When you can't breathe, you're on a respirator, you have arthritis, you can't travel anymore. You care about your family and your kids and your grandkids. And if you don't have that, what was life about?
Yeah, I'm trying to find me a woman that's gonna wipe my ass when I can't wipe it no more. I know what you're
My
saying.
mom had to do that. My mom had to do that.
I agree
Yeah.
with
Yeah. Because I mean, some kids don't even take care of their parents. You know, you may have one that may really be vested, and then they the ones that's left with that burden and that's why it's so important for us to take care of ourselves. And that's one thing I respect from like that chick. What's the comedian name? Monique. You know, she said that she made that lifestyle change because she didn't want to be a burden on her family. And I brought this up before that we got to start taking care of ourselves because it's not guaranteed that our kids, we hope our kids, we can tell our kids, man, when I get old, you're going to take care of me. Yeah, I'll take care of you when you get old. And then they don't care about you because they're trying to live their lives. And then if you didn't have nobody that you built with and they still alive, then it's going to be a lonely world out there when you just screaming, you in pain and ain't nobody else there. So it's
You
a
got to
reality
pay for
check for some
hospice
folks.
and people to come take care of you.
Yeah.
I had that reality check 2 years ago, and I was in the prime of my career. I was the it photographer. I went international. I was booked and busy, flying everywhere. Everybody wanted to book me. And then, but I was still battling my illness with the fibroids. That year, I had to get 10 blood transfusions
Man,
in and out the hospital. And then I had to get the hysterectomy that had me in the hospital for 6 weeks with 30 staples in my stomach. And when I tell you, being alone in that hospital, and then laying on your back for another 6 weeks in your bed, and thank God for my father. Happy Father's Day, Daddy, if you're watching, took care of my son. I'm sorry.
it's okay. It's
It's
okay.
okay, Amber.
It's about relationships, y'all. We're trying
And
to.
I couldn't do nothing for my kid. My dad had to help me walk to the bathroom, change my diaper, take him to school. I missed his recital. And that's when I realized chasing the bag, catching flights, not feelings, is just bullshit. It's bullshit. And so we talk all the time. Talk to JR. Me and Ricky was just talking yesterday. Money is a tool just to get you to the life you want to live, to have relationships about the things that money cannot buy. I'm sorry, you can go ahead.
You're right. Money can't buy a real relationship. They can't buy people truly caring about you.
And
I
that's
just had
the
my wisdom teeth pulled, and my sister came and she took care of me because I was just out of it. And I mean, I could pay for that, but to have someone genuinely care just to come do it, it's about relationships. That's what the whole life is about. That's what life is about.
Yeah. I
People
want
are
to go.
so busy not trying to have them. So stupid.
Hey, Rio, you wanted to speak on anything? Good.
Mine may be more relevant to where you're about to shift. I noticed you went back to the other one, but it was more or less about what Rick was talking about with us not necessarily being perfect, even as parents. It just brought to mind some things. I didn't know if you want me to save that or not.
No, you go ahead because I'm near to the end of the video, so you can go ahead and just, we unsaw everything. So
What that made me think about was some conversations I oftentimes had with my son. And, you know, oftentimes you can keep it simple. You could just tell your child, don't talk back to your parents. You know what I mean? Or to your elders or whoever, right? But oftentimes I like to go into why, right? And I think we know who we've had a child with, right? And we kind of know what it's like dealing with that individual on a person to person level, let alone, as a child where you really don't have as many rights to speak of for yourself as an adult may have in a parent child relationship. And so oftentimes I tell my son, I say, I don't know if you realize this, but going back and forth with your mother, the odds are already against you. You're not going to win, right? And what ends up happening is you end up in a situation where you are probably in a worse situation than where you were before if you would have just accepted what you said and you were quiet. I said, because you always have me to talk to. If you feel like there's some type of injustice, then you kind of got to work. I think we spoke about it earlier, your chain of command, but it's not
Right.
your place to go back and forth with your parents, right? And so, I explained that to him because, as you grow up and you get older, and even as you get into those teenage years where you're going to be more inclined to do that, you got to realize, I mean, this is a person that you want on your team, so to speak, right? And ultimately, she's speaking in your best interest just as well as I. So if you can have the discipline to keep your mouth closed in situations where you should and speak to me as I am your advocate in any situation, as well as she, but sometimes that's difficult when y'all are at odds. Allow me to handle that. I can better navigate and work this situation out for you or help you navigate the situation because her and I should be able to talk about these things privately so that we can figure out if we are dropping the ball as parents in your understanding or just with our methods in general. And so I think we got to recognize that, um, you know, we're not going to be perfect, but we do have one thing in common. I think all of us as parents, we have their best interest at heart, and we have to kind of keep this line when in chain of command, so to speak. But there's always room and opportunity for evaluation, and I think we have to educate them on how to work that, so to speak, not manipulate. Though it's one thing to go against what one parent said and go ask another. That's manipulation. That's out of line. That has to be checked and that has to be corrected. It's another thing to go and ask a question and say, "Hey, Dad, Mom told me this, and she reacted in this way. You know what I mean? That made me feel this way, and I don't understand where I'm wrong. Maybe you can explain that to me." You know what I mean? And then that's my job as a father to see. That's a teaching moment, as we like to say, to hear what he has to say, educate him, and talk with her, and potentially, if necessary, educate her on what it's like to be a boy. You know what I mean? And see if we can talk about how we may be able to better handle these situations, and that there are going to be situations where I'm better suited as a man to handle. I think that this is ever important for people who aren't even together anymore because oftentimes you let the conflict that you had with that other parent get in the way of you being able to parent together. So you'll go and
Right.
you'll say things like, "I got it handled. Don't worry about it." Or "I told him or her this. Don't worry about it." You know what I mean? And we allow that to kind of get in the way. Once you have children together, you have one thing in common always, right?
That's true.
Always.
That's true.
And you got to be able to put that to the side because you have to work together. How not? Right? If the kid's best interest is at heart. So I just think this is something I think it's a whole nother topic, and that's something that a whole show could be based around. But I just wanted to put that at the top of the mind is that we have to educate the children on how to navigate at home, not just outside, and that we also have to work together as parents to become better, right, for our children.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna play this last bit of video. If you guys haven't already, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Last bit of video.
Please hit the like button. We appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Do. You just got to do it. And I'm going to close with this. The closest, everyone talks about when you get older, unconditional love. And hold on real quick before I forget. That's why I'm glad I got my brother here. Also, for your fathers, even though this episode is called Manipulating Moms, find something you can do to pour back into your dads. Because we get tired. I mean, we do a lot as well. And we feel neglected more so than respected. So just find something you can do for your fathers as well. All right. So I want to close on this. So when you get older, you're going to start looking for this thing called unconditional love. I want somebody that's going to love me regardless for what I do and who I am. So let me tell you guys something. It's just from experience. The closest you will ever get to that on earth is the love of a good mother. And Mr. B clapping in the back. I say that again. The closest you will ever get to unconditional love on earth is the love you receive from a good mother.
All right, we're gonna finish it out with that. I see Ricky Williams don't agree. As I stated before, I know that some people don't agree with some of the things that Jason Wilson says. So I'm curious, Ricky. I saw that head going nope.
I'm curious
Hey,
too.
look, man, the closest thing you'll get to unconditional love is the love for yourself. It's the love for yourself. Can't nobody love you till you love yourself. Your mama, your daddy, your greasy grandma. No person outside of yourself love is unconditional. I'm so sick of hearing that. You do your mama wrong enough, she gonna go. You do your daddy wrong enough, he gonna go. Right? I'm not saying that's something you would do. Not saying you would do it intentionally. I'm saying you have to learn to love yourself before you looking for love outside of yourself. I understand as a man, I'm not perfect. I'm gonna make mistakes, but I love me. But I love me. Stop looking at everybody else to fulfill you, to validate you. I don't need that. Like he was saying, oh, dads, we're underappreciated. Hey, it's part of the game at this point. Right? Nobody, especially in our community, no one is making the necessary adjustments for that paradigm to change. So what difference does it make? Right? We as fathers understand we get the short end of the stick. I love me. And when you start loving you, the right people will come into your life. The right people who understand, hey, that you're flawed and you have issues. But nobody love outside of you is unconditional. That's BS. I'm not going to never say that happens. It doesn't do it. Your mom doesn't love you unconditionally. She love you. Hey, she love you under the condition that you her child. If he wasn't my child, I wouldn't give two about him. Leave him alone. That ain't. Come on, y'all done seen it. Love you, man. Love you first.
I definitely want to get Jay in here, and then Callie, I know you was clapping your hands, and it's good to have these conversations so we can start to stir up these perspectives, and so it's good conversation. But Jay, I want to hear what you got to say. I definitely want to hear why Kelly was clapping and your response to what Ricky said, and possibly Jay, and then Miss Amber. I don't know if you want to chime in on it too. All right, go ahead, Jay.
I guess I have more of a question for Ricky. Do you think if you don't love yourself, you can love others correctly?
Not correctly. No. Nope. Because that love for you, look, like I tell you, everybody be talking, oh, Rick, this, Man, I wasn't this way all my life. I'm about to be 50 years old. Which part of that don't y'all understand? Right? I've made mistakes. I did good people wrong. I know what I'm talking about. Right? Now, what happens is when you don't love yourself, right? You don't set conditions. You don't set boundaries. You don't set your what's the word they say? Your non-negotiables. Right? When you don't love yourself, you go off triggers and emotional responses to stuff that you learned in your environment or from other people. Right? So if I'm doing that and I call myself loving you, right? So when I'm with a particular woman, right? And she do something outside of something that as a man, if I love myself, I wouldn't accept. If I'm not correcting her, how am I loving her? This is about discipline, right? Same with your children. You know, I want to be liked by my kids because, you know, my mama didn't like me and I never got over it and I never fixed that trigger. Right? So it starts from square one. Ground zero. When you get right, it's just funny how when you set those correct expectations within yourself, listen to what I'm saying, y'all, within yourself, everything just seems to fall in line. The people that you used to hang with that in the back of your mind or, you know, in your group chat, so you would gossip about people, they just happen to fall by the wayside, huh? Right? Those problems you had with, you know, being responsible in your life, they just don't happen no more. The drama when you always, like I said, you always in some shit, that means you the toilet, right?
How long did it take to get to that point?
Man. 39. 39 is when I had my epiphany moment. It was like, God damn.
I was going to say, it sounds like a mature mindset.
God damn. And that's what I'm telling you. I damn near cried myself to sleep. That's how bad it was. I had to have that moment.
What clicked? Like, did something happen that made you just one day look in the mirror like, okay, it's me?
I can't say it was one thing. It was a culmination of moments.
Mm-hmm.
It was a culmination of moments, right? And I always put everybody that I so-called loved ahead of myself, right? I always did. And you thinking that makes you a bigger person, you the better person because you extending out more than that. No, you doing it for a selfish reason. You doing it so hopefully they can treat you and make you feel the way you want to feel and the way you feel you should be treated when life don't work that way. You keep giving it out to people, they gonna take it.
All right.
The reason I was clapping.
Hold on, real quick. We got about 8 minutes left. We're gonna go to Kelly, then Amber, Hink, and then King and finish us off. But we got about 8 minutes left. Sage Talk is up next. I did pin that link to the top of the chat. So directly when this is over, make sure you go ahead and set the reminder and or click into it. It'll be starting roughly about 2:15. Men set the standards for the society. This is what Sage Talk with Lee is going to be about. My apologies, Miss Kelly. So Kelly, Amber, Hink, and then we'll finish off with Rio. We got roughly about 8 minutes.
I was going to say the reason I was clapping is because my sister and I just recently had this conversation. She made a post about no love is unconditional. And we were having the conversation about her post. And I was like, well, I mean, I guess a mother's love would be as close to unconditional as you can find on the planet, because no matter what, if that's your child, you're going to do whatever you can to take care of them. And it does, like, it's just because they're your kid. Like, they could be mad at you, they could scream at you, cuss at you, you're still going to love them because they're your child. Where if it was a romantic relationship or a friendship, you'd be like, oh no, I'm not going to tolerate that. But that's still your baby. No matter what, you're going to still have a love for them. Even if you don't talk to them, you're still going to love your child. But I also agree with you, Ricky, because you said self-love is most important. And no, you cannot love anyone else properly if you don't love yourself first. So what you said is true, but he also said the closest thing you'll find to unconditional love I'm thinking person to person would be a mother's love. So I don't disagree with anyone there.
I can see that fact, Kelly.
All right, Miss Anna Marie.
I would say only thing I would disagree with his statement was, as he said, a mother's love. I would say a parent's love, because there are some mothers that are not the best, and there are some amazing fathers. So if and I wholeheartedly am piggybacking and agreeing with Ricky's standpoint, and I'll even take it up a notch. Um, the closest thing to unconditional love is source. Whatever you believe in, that's a higher power that you can't see nor feel, then it's yourself. And then if we have to pigeonhole a person, I would say a parent, whether it's a mother, father, guardian, stepfather.
So we were talking about source too. That was one of the conversations we were having. And I was like, well, God's love is unconditional. And she was like, but is it? She said, but is it? Because he says commandments and he wants you to keep them if he's going to consider you one of his children versus just like a being on the planet. So that was one of the topics too.
Can I jump on that real quick? Like God,
yeah, feel free. Yeah.
God to me is nature and it's conditional as well, right? Let's break it down. For a seed to grow, what you need a seed, water, soil,
Earth.
right?
Earth. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's love. I consider that love because God presents it to everybody, right? But it's conditions for that love to grow, correct? It's conditions for that love to exist, right? For us to be able to breathe the air that God presented to us, you got to have oxygen, right? Mm-hmm. Oxygen requires something for it to make happen. Mm-hmm. It's conditional. Everything is conditional, except the love you have for yourself. Mm-hmm. Everything requires conditions. The love you made with your child, it took a seed, it took a body, it took an activity for that to happen.
All right. Well, Hank, brother.
Nothing much left need to be said, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
But I got one thing I'm gonna say. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. I'm gonna keep pushing that till it can't be pushed no goddamn more.
My boy Hank.
I love for all these fathers that's doing
this Chicago.
Yeah, I got nothing but love for all the fathers that's doing right. And I got love, like I said, once again, I got love for the deadbeat motherfucking fathers. Because I hope this stream, I know you watch it right now, and I hope this encourages you to do right by your child. Take care of your goddamn business.
There you go. All right, Rio, go ahead and take us home, brother.
Nah, like Hank said, I think we really covered it. One of the things I could say is I think Rick's message is probably what's most responsible, because if we are going to be mentoring our youth, not knowing necessarily their backgrounds or where they're coming from, and how they were raised, I think it's a lot safer, so to speak, to give them that message, but also talk to them a little bit about what it's like, or what it looks like to love yourself properly. I can't speak for a mother I've never met. You know what I'm saying? Not me. I'm talking about the youth. You know what I mean? I know my mother. I know how much she loves me. That doesn't necessarily mean this child that I'm speaking to, as a counselor in the school, has that same experience, right? And so we have to be able to speak to them too, or else the moment we said that, he just checked out. No, you a damn lie. You know what I mean? Because he knows different. But if we could speak to self-love and speak to what it looks like, what it will require, and how to heal, then I think we're going somewhere. So that being said, Rick, you got a story, and I could tell from what you're speaking to, from the reference that you're speaking to, like you mentioned, 50 years. If I know Rick's story and I know a child who is going through something similar, it may better serve that child if I were to connect the two of them, if that wasn't my experience. Instead of thinking that we have a message for everyone when we don't, right? If I have a mother who is going through the same things as Amber, and she feels like she has to be so militant with her son to keep him in line because she doesn't feel like she has a support from the father, and she's losing the connection that she has when her role was just to nurture him, right? I'm going to connect her with an Amber, right? Because we need people who we can connect with and who we can relate to ultimately, so that we can come up out of our traumas, our experiences, our dark places, and so that we can heal. You know, I feel like Kelly so vulnerably spoke about what she's currently going through with the recent passing of her father. If my dad's still here, so I can't necessarily relate directly to what that's like, right? But if I know somebody who has dealt with it, who's you know what I mean, and who has overcome these emotions that she's currently going through with this being so fresh, it would better serve her for me to connect her with someone like that. And this is what I appreciate about these panels, JR, is it's important for us to have people that come from so many different walks of life, because we're going to speak to somebody. What I appreciate about the chat, when the chat shows up, is it's the same way in the chat. There's somebody who connects with somebody. You don't got to worry about tailoring your message to everybody, because there's someone who connects with authentically you. You know what I mean? So with that being said, man, happy Father's Day to the brothers. Thank you for the ladies, to the ladies, for all the love. This is our day. This is our day.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
And it
Yeah.
feels real good.
Yeah, and I think you said an important message, man, because one thing, as content creators and as just people that's a part of these panels, is that you don't have to be for everybody. I'm saying it again, you don't have to be for everybody. So just appreciate, just be who you are, authentically are, because there's a lot of people that don't watch, that don't even be in the chat. So while your focus is in the chat, it shouldn't be in the chat. Your focus should be as the work that you're doing for many others, because you may have people that reach out to you, email you, DM you, and say, man, I can relate to that. It's no doubt in my mind somebody's going to email you or DM you and say, I appreciate what you said. It spoke to me that day. And those are the people that matter. You ain't got to get everybody. Everybody clout chasing, everybody want to be on top. It's not about that. If you reach one person and they're able to hear your story, then they know that they can get through it. That's one person that you was able to save. All we got to do is just save one. You know, that's us giving back with our stories and coming together. We sit here and we listen because we may not be correct. There may be a better way, but we will never get that if we don't listen. So that's one of the main reasons why, like the Lapeef Network forum, you ain't gotta like every show, you ain't gotta like everybody, but it's something for you. You know, it's something for you. I respect everybody has some value here. I
But you do
don't
got to
look
hit
for
the like button.
Yeah, hit the like button. I don't look for everybody to be perfect. I just look for you just to be able to be authentically you, because that's what I saw. And so I just want to thank the fathers on the panel. I want to thank the men on the panel. I appreciate you guys. I want to thank the women as well, for taking time out you guys' day. I expected this to be a short broadcast, but it wound up being a little bit long. But I do think it's a lot of value that was put out there. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you you guys for tuning in to Lapeef and Sundays. I know it's a little bit out of character, but I mean, that's the beauty of it, man. It's all about the experience. We can one day we could talk about some ratchet shit. The other day we could talk about some for real shit. It's just, it is. It ain't gonna be, you ain't gonna satisfy everybody, but I guarantee you we satisfy a lot of people today with this. So I'm proud of it. Y'all make sure y'all head over to Sage Talk with Lee. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. This is the greatest network ever. And we out.
It really is. Hit the like button.
Hit that like button, family. Hit that like button. Get y'all tickets to Atlanta, man. You know what it is. This just gave me chills when I did that shit. I love that.
Protect yourself at all times. At all times.
Y'all head over to Sage Talk with Lee. Man, set the standards for society. We got another banger. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, man. We love you. It's our day, y'all. Don't let them take it away. Hit that like button if you haven't already. We taking the same energy right over to Sage Talk, starting at the 15-minute mark. We love y'all. Green Gang, I see you. Appreciate everybody. We love you. Appreciate you, Ricky, all you do. Thank you, Jay, Kelly, Hink, Jay, Amber. Shout out to my chat ninjas. Appreciate your logic. Shit, everybody, all the whole family, whole Lapeef Network. We up next, y'all. We up next. Sage Talk with Lee is next. We over there, y'all. Men set the standards for society. Click that link. It's pinned to the top of the chat. Feel a tease. 30% off along with a free gift. Get y'all tickets for Atlanta, y'all. Get y'all tickets for Atlanta. That link is in the description. Lapeef Experience takes over Atlanta. 5th and the 6th of August, y'all. Get y'all tickets. Get y'all tickets. Appreciate all the love, y'all. Thank y'all. Hit that like button. We over at Sage Talk. Hit that link to the top of the chat. Happy Father's Day, all the fathers out there. It's not too late to start fathering, y'all. Fathers assemble. If you thought about calling your child, you ain't talk to him, it ain't too late, man. Go ahead and give him a call right now. Need all the fathers to assemble. Hey, don't let that beef between you and her, come in between. Come on, father, let's get up, y'all. Come on, make that call. Come on, y'all, put fathers assemble in the chat, y'all. Need the fathers to start fathering out here. Come on, y'all, let's make a difference. Just like the churches, I know it's somebody out there that got these messages today. If that's you, go ahead and make that call. Pastor Day, I said so. I'm taking them to church, y'all. Come on. Hey, put that fathers assemble over there on that Sage Talk, y'all. We need the fathers. Come on, y'all. I'm about to end this stream, y'all. I'm over there at Sage Talk. You want to see some more of this? Catch me over there on Sage Talk, y'all. Come on. When y'all go over there, make sure you hit that like button. You know what it is, Rilla. Pastor Lapeef. Let's go. I need them fathers to assemble.